What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. And we're gonna go over everything that happened yesterday once more, dive a little bit deeper, take some look at some boggling decisions. We'll talk about them, and we'll look at some mind-boggling stats to go along with them. We got a lot to go over tonight as I sat back and actually looked at everything I have lined up to talk about. But the first thing that I do want to talk about and get off my chest is, I think I might even have to start every week, every post game show off with this, but I need to address Dolphins Nation. So let's call this Reasons Weekly Dolphins Nation Address. And somehow, some way, Tua didn't play it down yesterday or snap, and people on multiple platforms, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitter, whatever the case may be, Facebook, somehow he's still absorbing all the blame. And let me start by saying, if you have your hesitations about declaring him a franchise quarterback, if there are things that worry you and make you hesitant to declare him a franchise quarterback, all the power to you, okay? But I want people to realize a lot of people are showing, we're seeing the real casual take side of this fan base right now. The reason why me and EM created the channel, I'm actually going to reference him here in a second here. The reason why we created this channel was to give the context to people, for people to stop taking things at face value and look for the easy answers and look for the stat line and be like, okay, I looked at the stat line. He sucks. He's good. Whatever. Ask, why are all those things happening? Why does he have those many yards rushing or all those yards passing? Why does he have all those passing touchdowns? It was all about context when we created this channel, because quite frankly, people just weren't doing a good enough job of informing people. And, I still feel this is where we're at to an extent right now. There's agendas at play when Jacoby Brissett plays the game he played yesterday and excuses are made for him. Let's get in the reality of the situation here. The Miami Dolphins scored 28 points. Okay, 7 of those were from Landon Roberts. So that means our offense scored 21 points. They also gave up 2 points in a safety. So that's a 19-point differential that our offense put up on the board when you take away the safety and you take away the Landon Roberts touchdown. You look at certain things right now in terms of Jacoby Brissett in 2 games now. In 2 games, his intended air yards per pass attempts is almost 1.5 yards lower than Tua Tagovailoa. When you go into when you go even deeper and you start looking at other things like, I don't know, you go beyond, you go into completed air yards, again, it's almost 1.5 yards lower than Tua. Intended air yards for right now for Jacoby Brissett is 6.7. Tua Tagovailoa is 7.9. The completed air yards per completion for Jacoby Brissett is 3.8. Tua Tagovailoa is 5.1. And we'll get into the passing charts later, and it'll show it all again. But, there's a couple of things that just aren't sitting right with me right now. Like, Tua got shitted on last year for dinking and dunking. Brissett's made a living off of it in 2 weeks. If we had more net yards rushing than we did passing almost 3.5 quarters into that game. Okay? If that was Tua, the sky would be falling. Chris Greer would have just drafted the biggest bust known to man, and all the negativities would be thrown Tua Tagovailoa's way. But Jacoby Brissett is somehow getting a pass. And remember, Tua Tagovailoa has started 11 games. And if you include the series against the Jets, his debut last year, he's played in only 12, albeit 2 of those 12 are in minimalistic snap counts. But right now, Jacoby Brissett, I mean, he's 0-2 as a Dolphin. Let's call it what it is. All right. He was 11-19 as a Colt. So 11-21. And he was 1-1 as a Patriot. So he's 12-22. And people are actually have such a hard on for Tua Tagovailoa. They're actually convincing themselves Jacoby Brissett gives us a better chance to win. And they're saying it's because Jacoby can extend plays. Well, last I checked, we've only seen Tua play in a game plus 7-8 snaps this year. Last I checked, at 60% health against the Arizona Cardinals, Tua Tagovailoa had no problem improvising outside the pocket, using his legs to extend plays. Like, it's crazy to think a lot of you aren't nuanced with the game, don't know how to break down film. Okay? You know what I mean? Weren't even talking about film breakdowns. So me and EM came around, and all of a sudden, you guys are good enough evaluators that after 11 games, Tua doesn't have it. You know, EM Dolphin fan, me and him started the Tua train on the YouTube platform in the Miami Dolphins community, but he said he wants Watson in the upgrade. Now, I've always said, I've been consistent. If the trade makes sense and you aren't overpaying and you're not getting hosed, I have no problem with them upgrading to Deshaun Watson. Now, I've also said, don't trade Tua, because if something hits Watson and you trade for him in the offseason, if you trade for him and then, I don't know, the grand jury comes in against him and he's got to deal with some suspension, you still got Tua to lean on. Anyways, I digress. Back to EM. EM has consistently said, if the upgrade is there, you take Deshaun Watson. But EM Dolphin fan has never once said Tua Tagovailoa is a bust. The fact that I'm seeing people who I know can't evaluate film, can't evaluate prospects, therefore can't evaluate players, are out here saying this kid's a bust after 11 games. Sit on your couch, shut your mouth, and watch the game. No one wants to hear your casual hot takes because they're embarrassing. You guys are acting like it's Josh Rosen levels bad when Josh Rosen on 2 teams, one that started him for 13 games, the other one that started him for 3, he showed absolutely nothing, didn't flash one single time. Tua Tagovailoa has flashed multiple times. Give me a break. Like, it's unreal to see how this guy is catching flack for Jacoby, quite frankly, taking 3.5 quarters off with this terrible offense around him. And you know what's crazy? It goes back to coaching. I've gotten out again on the curve. I got ahead of the curve, and I've been saying, look at how we're using Waddle for over a week now. And now all of a sudden, all these things are coming out of people saying, look at how we're using Jaylen Waddle right now. People legitimately saying, look at, there's articles out about how we're using Jaylen Waddle, and I'm going to go over one of them today. People are legitimately putting articles out. Because it's deeper than the quarterback right now. And this is what's crazy is I created this channel with EM to inform people, to make people see the game beyond the couch. And we are getting these hot takes. Now, again, it's cool to have your reservations and hesitations, but to be out here declaring him a bust after 11 games, when the rule of thumb has always been you give a quarterback 3 years and then you can have an actual valid evaluation of what he has, and you got to put stuff around them to actually see, right? Like the reason why you're seeing Tannehill do what he does right now is because of the offensive line and the running game. But we already found that recipe in 26. It's just management ignored it. The recipe has always been for Tua. It's never been the Alabama receivers. That's never been it. It's never been that. It's been a running game, build an offensive line, and then do what's supposed to be done for every rookie at any position that comes to the next level. Coach the kid up. That's why we talk about ceilings. We don't say this guy is Drew Brees. We say his ceiling could be Drew Brees. I'm not even talking about Tua right now. I'm just saying in general. Like, if you saw someone you like, you wouldn't say he's the next Peyton Manning. You're saying his ceiling could be Peyton Manning. But what needs to happen for that person to reach his ceiling? The situation they're drafted into, and the big part of that is the coaching. And then the rest of it is putting them in a position to be successful. Other than adding to the offensive weapons in terms of wide receivers, what have they done to make Tua Tagovailoa successful? What did they do to even make Jacoby Brissett successful as a backup? Sam Darnold. Most of you guys for the past 2 years have been trying to convince me he's a bust. I was one of the people who go back to TD Finn's talk. Back then I said, just give him a change of scenery, get him out from under Gase. It's Gase. Look at what he's doing right now. Alex Smith, 49ers to Kansas City. Look at the situation. Multiple examples of this exist. This is not a foreign concept. And I've been telling y'all since 2019 that the offensive line is not good enough. And it's not... Bro, I was saying build the offensive line. I don't care if you draft Tua, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert. I named all 4 of those guys multiple times, saying I don't care if you draft one of those guys. I prefer Tua, but I don't care. Make sure the offensive line in front of them is taken care of. Look at what the Chargers did, even under a new coaching staff, with improving that offensive line against Justin Herbert. This is deeper than the quarterback right now. And it's such a narrow-sighted, face value take to say this team isn't going anywhere to Tua Tagovailoa. Newsflash, this team is not going anywhere with this offensive line, this coaching staff on the offensive side of the football, and their lack of commitment consistently to the running game. I haven't even gotten to the quarterback yet. And I said this to EM, I said this to Damien when we talked today. My issue here is I do not trust this regime with Tua Tagovailoa or Deshaun Watson. With either one. Because as this offense is shaping up, guys, this is looking like it could turn into a 6 to 8 win season. So what? Deshaun instead makes it 9 or 10. Let's say he makes it 10 wins. What? You either sneak into the playoffs and get exposed in the first round, or you barely miss the playoffs. My problem is Deshaun Watson, for this coaching staff and this front office, they're not doing it for the right reason. They're not doing it to get Deshaun Watson, build a fort in front of him, and let the guy go. They're doing it because they want to extend their shelf life right now. Because they knew with what they had on this offensive line and what was going, they were not about to win with this shit. Deshaun Watson, if you are trading 3 firsts and 2 seconds, you need a long-term plan for that man. This is not a Band-Aid solution to buy you 1 or 2 years to hope you can get it right and then you don't get it right, and we're like, what the fuck? Why do you think EM, give credit to EM? He's consistently said he'll take the upgrade for Watson, but he's never called Tua a bust. And in fact, he's even said, if Watson isn't an option, continue developing Tua because you've seen enough. Guys, the stuff people are trying to nitpick and point out for him, he's only started 11 games in the NFL. Every player, quarterback, cornerback, wherever, is going to need more than 11 games to get acclimated to the NFL level. The speed of the game, the complexity of coverages and schematics of the game. Because, okay, for example, perfect example. If a defense shows me a look, right? Because you got to look at Tua. We've always said, because Tua doesn't have the physical tools, he needs to be elite from the neck up. Well, he was that in college. Problem is, now with the sped-up game, bigger men, stronger men, faster men, this guy's coverages complicate the complexities of the game now. He needs help with coaching. Herbert would need it. Burrow would need it. Jordan Love clearly needs it. Trevor Lawrence clearly needs it. Zach Wilson clearly needs it. Trey Lance is getting it. If you saw how Matt Nagy treated Justin Fields yesterday, Fields clearly needs it. Okay? You need that. And right now, Tua's not getting it. First of all, Flores is a defensive coach. Plain and simple. Can't tell me otherwise. You cannot lean on him. Okay? Dorsey. Great for the Hurricanes. Flamed out as a pro. Really only done the coaching thing at the collegiate level. How much can you really lean on him? Godsey. Flamed out in 2015, 2016, wherever, as the offensive coordinator. Got fired in Houston. And then Stoodsville's never been an offensive coordinator. How much can you really lean on these guys? And this even goes for our offensive line. Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt. Okay? Even Dieter. How much can they lean on those guys, let alone much can they lean on? I've been saying it. I've been saying the sophomores on that offensive line mixed with the rookie coach is a recipe for disaster. And you're seeing it blow up in our face right now. There's just way too much from the coaching level to the product on the field. There's way too much inexperience on the offensive side of the football. Man, that's why you had Ball Game and EM saying, get a Ryan Ramchuk. Or you had me saying, sign Taylor Moton. People saying trade for Orlando Brown, put him on left tackle. Me, my number one free agent I wanted was Corey Linsley. You needed experience on this offensive line. Even our coach needs it. This is a bigger problem than quarterback. And the fact that you people can't see it out there is troublesome. Because I didn't know we had this many casuals in the fan base. And EM, I know Damian went off on Tua, but even Damian will agree with everything I'm saying right now. Even he'll tell you it's bigger. We're not winning a Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson. He's not saving the situation right now. See, there's smart people that want Watson, but, I'm just saying. I had a conversation for like 30 minutes with Damian today. Maybe 5-8 minutes of it was about Tua. The rest of it was the rest of the offense. Because when me and Ball Game and Martin are breaking down film and we're picking apart play designs and concepts, there's something wrong with the situation. There's something wrong with it. And I said from day one with Watson, either shit or get off the pot. And my problem with right now is I do not trust this regime to draft and use the assets to build a team necessary around Watson or Tua Tagovailoa for that matter. Either one. Take your pick. Like, this is a legitimate problem. And the use of the wrongful use of resources, okay? The wrongful use of resources. And on top of that, just the ineptitude of this carousel of coaches on the offensive side of the football is catching up to us. That's why dude, Tua is not the only guy on offense that you could make the case where isn't taking a leap in year 2 already. Well, Tua has only played one game. But the thing is, you know what we saw? In the preseason, we saw them in a progression-based offense, sprinkling some RPO, and you saw things from Tua that gave you hope. In that offense, too, Eichenberg even looked better. Dieter looked better. Hunt looked better. Kinley looked better. Jackson still looked like the disaster he was. But now you've gone into this finesse, zone blocking, RPO type of offense, and it's a disaster. These guys aren't built for that. They're power gap blockers. Well, I don't know about Eichenberg, but the rest of them are power gap blockers. That's what you have right now. This is a team that should be running the football 30 to 35 times a game. That's why I was so excited about Eric Studesville. Like, we're finally going to commit to the run. That's why I thought we were going to draft a running back, too, in the first 2 rounds. Because I was like, they're finally going to commit to the run because Studesville's in there. And we got none of that. Now, we did call the RPO-based offense. Now, we never said we had the offensive line personnel, but we don't have the offensive line personnel right now. This needs to go to a progression-based offense. Let Tua ride out the season in that. Let him get better at going through his progressions. And if he gets hurt again and Jacoby comes in, it's better for Jacoby to be in a progression-based offense than all this stuff behind the line of scrimmage. Like, I want you to realize something right now. This is not good, okay? I've been saying Jaylen Waddle, they don't know how to use him. They don't know how to use him right now. I want you to realize 32% of Jaylen Waddle's receptions have come behind the line of scrimmage. That's a third of his receptions. This is a guy, he just had 12 receptions on 13 targets for like 58 yards. Do you know right now, and I'm going to show you guys in a bit, right now Jaylen Waddle is averaging more yards of separation than average depth of target when he's being targeted right now. Like, this is a serious issue. Because here's the fact of the matter is, they're not even putting Jacoby Brissett in a situation they're not even putting him in the situation to be successful. This is going to be a team where no matter who the quarterback is, we're going to eke out wins. Unless the other team is just massively depleted. Like, against good, respectable teams, if we win, we will eke it out. And you get to the playoffs with this team right now, man, they make you beat them with your biggest weakness. Who are we beating with this offensive line right now? Like, Jaylen Waddle just produced the lowest receiving yards total for any non-running back with 12 or more catches in a single NFL game since stats started being kept in 1950. Think about that for a second. I want to repeat this to all of you. Jaylen Waddle yesterday produced the lowest receiving yards total for any non-running back with 12 or more catches in a single NFL game since stats started being kept in 1950. 71 years of keeping NFL stats, Jaylen Waddle is the first to have. He has the lowest receiving yards of any non-running back in the past 71 years with 12 or more catches. You think I was lying to you? I hadn't even seen the all-22, and I knew they weren't watching. Well, we've watched it the past couple weeks. But look at, see how quickly I start catch. I'm sorry, man. I just know what I'm looking at. I know what I'm watching. And that's why I kept bringing it up yesterday. Look at how they're using Henry Ruggs. You guys want to talk Herbert? Look at how they're using Keenan Allen. You guys watch the all-22 with us. You see how much we go in those trips, bunch formations. We always go into it. But we're not rubbing guys out. We're not picking guys. We're not manufacturing space on that. We're asking guys to organically, just with their route running and their speed, manufacture space. We're not helping them out. When you have a 4.27 guy, this is like you have a Ferrari right now, and I'm talking about Jaylen Waddle. You have a legitimate Ferrari right now, and you can go to Germany and take it on the Autobahn and let it rip, but instead you're driving on side roads where you got to do 40. You could be... this is like me offering you, yo, you got that Ferrari? Okay, let's go to Germany right now. I'll pay. Expenses paid. Let's take it to the Autobahn where we can just let it rip. And you tell me, no, I'd rather take it to the backcountry side streets where I can only do 40. That's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is. If they don't know how to use that kind of speed and a receiver, what makes you think they know how to properly use Tua Tagovailoa or Deshaun Watson? All they're going to do to Deshaun Watson is say, look it, we didn't put a lot around the rookie, but he went 7-3. What can you do? You could have gone 9-1. You could have gone 10-0. We don't need to improve around you. Go be Superman. And then all we're going to turn into is a consistent team that's knocked out in the first round. That's all we're going to turn into. Now, and I'm not suggesting anything, if you would fire the whole side of the offensive side of the ball, minus Charlie Fry, and you go and offer Bill O'Brien a job, you know what I mean, with Tua or with Watson, I'm fine with that. You know, in terms of as an offensive coordinator, not Bill O'Brien as a head coach, under Flores I'm talking about. And then Flores can just wash his hands, let the offense roll. Okay, cool. Now, if you're going to go all the way and you're going to call for Flores' head, which guess what, guys? The reality of this is a lot of it falls at Flores' feet. I'm going to keep repeating it till I'm blue in the face, but y'all saw the Barry Jackson report where he said, if you're going to give Greer grief, you got to give it to Flores too, because he has just as much sane personnel, and Greer even defers to Flores. If you're going to clean house, give me Ed Dodds as our general manager, and give me either Eric Bieniemy and as our head coach with Mike Kafka as our offensive coordinator, or Brian Dabble as our offensive coordinator with Ken Dorsey. Give me that. I'm fine with that. And then let those guys bring in an experienced defensive coordinator that doesn't have to turn over our defensive personnel, that can work with the 3-3-5 or the 3-4 or the hybrid defense we built, and let it roll, baby. Let it roll. Let it ride. But I'm going to tell you right now, I already see it. 1 and 2, I already see it. 2 is going to get the blame, but privately, they're going to fire the O-line coach. They're going to fire the offensive coordinators, and that's how it's going to go. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're just going to blame. You're going to have a carousel. You're going to have these young kids learning under new coordinators and a new coordinator, and a new offensive line coach again. And Charlie Fry might even go, and you might have a new quarterback coach. So it's just going to be all these kids get even further stunted. So, I mean, it is what it is. But I'm telling you right now, this is deeper than the quarterback position. This is very deep. The film on the offensive side of the football tells you this is deeper. That's what I'm trying to convey to all of you. The film screams coaching. Why? Play calling, play design, concepts. Like, that's what I'm saying. The film even screams it. And people want to blame Tua. What do you expect a rookie to do with inept coaching? What do you expect a rookie to do with an inept offensive line? Watson ain't fixing that. Do you know I do a podcast every Thursday night with Richmond and Webb, the Finish line. You can find the link down below. I asked Richmond Webb, arguably the greatest left tackle that ever played the game. Arguably. He's a top 5 defensive tackle ever. I said, would Dan Marino thrive and be successful behind this offensive line with his quick release and all? I said, you know it better than anyone. Richmond Webb's exact quote, no, he wouldn't. So if I have someone who knows Dan Marino better than all of us, who knows Dan Marino's playing style better than all of us, firsthand experience saying Dan Marino would not be successful behind this offensive line, what do you think a rookie is going to do? Let alone, you really think Watson's going to take us to the Super Bowl? And then on top of that, it's not just the offensive line, it's bad coaching. It's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. This is a problem that is bigger than the quarterback. And it is a narrow-sighted, casual take after 11 games to blame it all on Tua Tagovailoa. Period. It's even a casual take to call him a bust, which is exactly why a guy like Miami Dolphin fan who wants the upgrade with Tua hasn't called that and has said, if we can't get Watson, I want to stick with Tua because he's shown enough in his foundation that you can build off of that. And another thing, I want everyone out there to remember, my evaluation of Tua Tagovailoa, or any player for that matter, does not begin and end with the Dolphins. If Tua gets moved and he goes somewhere else and he's successful, like I know he can be with competent coaching and personnel decisions around him, my evaluation continues. So recognize that shit too. So step back. Look at the broad spectrum of things. Look at the context of the situation. Why is Jaylen Waddle being misused? Why are these offensive linemen who are showing promise by the end of the year looking like they're regressing instead of showing any inkling of progressing? Look, why can our running back average over 5.5 yards per rush in a game, yet we don't stick to the run and he doesn't get 20 carries? He's lucky to get 13. Why did they not change the offense and play to Jacoby's strength and make it more progression read? And you see this? What I've been telling you with the recipe for this offense is, right? I said up tempo, up tempo, up tempo. And even Jacoby Brissett looked good when he finally ran the up tempo in this offense. And you want to know how far you can go with this offense, with this coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball and how inept it is? Jermaine Illuminor is the only starting offensive lineman in the NFL right now that has not given up a pressure. Yet they cut him. The only offensive lineman in the NFL right now who is not allowed to pressure is Jermaine Illuminor. They cut him. Didn't even let him battle at right tackle with Jesse Davis when Illuminor started at right tackle last year. I'm telling you, these are the flags that should be going off in your head that, oh shit, we don't have the right guys in place right now. But y'all want to blame it on a 23-year-old kid that's played 11 games. Stop it. It's ridiculous. Give me a break. Don't sit there and tell me you know football if that's the conclusion you come to. I'm sorry. Now, if you want to have hesitations, you want to have reservations about if Tua is the guy long-term or if he is the franchise quarterback, that's okay. Because that's different than calling this kid a bust and meaning it. I'm sorry. That's different. You want to say I got reservations, I got hesitations, all the power to you, man. Because there are areas, Tua is far from perfect. There's tons of areas he needs to improve right now. But the areas that he needs to improve, people need to realize a lot of those areas are where almost every collegiate quarterback needs to improve them. The only difference between him and Herbert is the physical tools. And look at when Herbert was throwing. I saw Herbert throw to the sidelines yesterday, missed by a quarter mile. It's like, oh, there's the Oregon Herbert. Even Herbert needs stuff he needs to work on and develop right now. And when you're a guy who's going to rely on beating everyone from the neck up, coaching comes into play with that. When you make that transition to the next level. Look what happened to Mac Jones when they took away all the underneath stuff because of how well he was coached up. Mac Jones was successful against us in week 1 because of how he was coached. They always gave him an outlet out of the backfield or stuff underneath route-wise to check down and out of if he was in trouble. They put him in a position to take what the defense gives you. We're not doing that kind of stuff. We're not. This offense, guys, you saw the same offense ran that was ran when Tua is in, and I was out here saying that offense does not play to Jacoby Brissett's strengths right now. And yet, in the actual offense we saw them running in the preseason, even with Tua in there, was more progression-based with stuff sprinkled in, and Tua looked better than what he looked like in a heavy RPO because we don't have the personnel. It's not Tua, it's the person. And here's another thing people need to realize. One read this, one read that. When you're an RPO, bro, I keep telling all y'all that. You only have 1 or 2 reads on an RPO. That's by design. Come on, man. Football 101. Like, what's crazy is I got people out here talking about stuff and they don't even know how to read and react to an RPO. They don't even know what to look for without hitting Google. They don't know how you got to look at the linebacker or the safeties. They don't know. They don't know what you got to look for in them to make a decision of whether you're going to check whether you're going to hand the ball off or pass. They don't know. They've only had to Google it. Come on, man. Listen to your takes on that. Give me a break. Unreal, man. The All-22 is telling you this is deeper than the quarterback. If y'all, instead of being narrow-sighted and narrow-minded and lasered in on Tua, if you step back and you watched everything, you would be seeing everything I'm seeing. Man, I've already got ahead of this Jaylen Waddle curve, and now literal articles are being written about this. I'm going to read one to you guys today. It's literally called How Not to Use a Top 10 Pick. And again, Jaylen Waddle produced the lowest receiving yards total for any non-running back with 12 or more catches in a single NFL game since stats started being kept 71 years ago. There are philosophical and fundamental issues here with this offense. Wake up. I've been telling you all since 2019, this offense isn't good enough, and they've whiffed on everyone except Robert Hunt. Robert Hunt is the only guy who would be competing for a starting job on any other team right now, and I'll even include Jesse Davis on that. Give me a break. You've given this guy Austin Jackson, Jesse Davis, Michael Dieter, who you've been trying to find a place for him for 3 years. He's out of position. He'd be better suited as a guard right now. Robert Hunt and Solomon Kinley, and with a 7th round running back behind that, Devontae Parker, who accounted for 1.4 yards of separation yesterday, who was having problems separate last year. And you're saying, go get him, young man. You got this. You got this. No one sees the problem with that. No one sees the issue with that. God damn. Sick and tired of the casual takes, man. It's embarrassing. Listening to our fan base at times is cringeworthy and embarrassing, man. Unbelievable, man. Anyways, let's get into this stuff. Let's, as usual, let's go ahead. Let's look at the snap count for the Miami Dolphins offense. Smash that like button. If you'd like to donate to the channel, paypal.me/Phinside. Become a Phinside the NFL Patreon, patreon.com/Phinside the NFL. You can also become a channel member. Just hit join and you will get access to custom emojis and certain privileges that exist for the Patreon and for the channel membership, including early access to film field studies. My first one is going to be Javon Holland. My second one is going to be Jalen Phillips. So we're going to get working to that. I think I'm going to try and drop Javon Holland this week. So we'll see how that goes. Patchvibes.com, use code Phinside, save 20% off your order. Backroomcollection.net, use code Reason to save 10% off your order. And then Thrive Fantasy, use code Phinside at thrivefantasy.com, and they will match up to every dollar. For every dollar you deposit up to $100. So you deposit 50, they'll match, put another 50 in, bringing you to 100. You deposit 100, they will deposit 100 and match that. So check out thrivefantasy.com, the leader in fantasy prop bets. Okay. Now, continuing on, let's get into it right here. The snap counts, we do this every week. Let's look at how it's shaked up for the Miami Dolphins. When we look at the offensive side, Jaylen Waddle, 88% of those snaps. Again, you're going to get into it. I'm going to boggle some of your minds with Jaylen Waddle. We're going to get into it. So, Devontae Parker, let me start boggling your minds right now. I want you to see this, and I'm going to show it later so you all see exactly what I'm talking about. But right now, Jaylen Waddle created about he's creating about 4.4 yards of separation per route. Yesterday, he created about 4.1 yards per route, but the average depth of target yesterday was 2.8 yards. And his average depth of target when Tua was in was 10.2 yards. And in week 2, his average depth of target was 0.7 yards. So his overall average depth per target right now is only 3.7 yards. So, I wasn't lying when I said they only use him. I mean, they only use him on screens. They only use them on stabs, and they only use them on curls, short curls right now. I'm not lying to all of you. Like, this is legitimately an issue right now. They're not getting him into open space. When he does make the catch, it's basically go out there and make a bunch of guys miss. So there is cause for concern on that. Devontae Parker, he only averages about 1.4 yards per carry. My bad, per carry. Per of separation on yards per route. So wasn't that good. Let's just put it that way. And I'll show all of you guys. We'll look into that. And yeah, we'll look into that. So we'll get into all that. But I mean, Gesicki now up to 55 snaps out of the 83, 66% of the snaps. So he's getting more back to tight end 1 territory right now. If you're in fantasy. And for as pass happy as they were yesterday, what's kind of crazy is Salvon Ahmed only got 5. He only got 5, he only got 5 snaps. I mean, Hunter Long, you drafted this guy instead of Quinn Miners, and he's only getting 2 snaps. Jakeem Grant only had 2 snaps, so Fuller comes back, and Jakeem Grant's usage absolutely plummets down. So yeah, Jakeem Grant, I mean, you saw now what their intentions are. Will Fuller had 51 snaps, 61%. They gave him a heavy workload. As soon as he came back, they did not play around. So, interesting stuff right there in regards to the snap counts offensively. Now, when we go and take a look defensively, they continue to try and eke out every dollar of what they paid Jerome Baker, as he had 83, which is 100% of the snaps. Howard, 96%. Byron Jones, 77%. We're going to take a look at Byron Jones today. I want to put things in perspective for you guys. Rose, 78%. I mean, because of Renfro, like Needham got a bunch of snaps. Coleman was out there for 30% of the snaps. Like, they were throwing a lot of what they had at Renfro. So yeah, Needham clearly in this situation emerging as the cornerback 3 for this team. Jalen Phillips played 59% of the snaps, the most of the season so far with 49 snaps. So that was great to see his involvement. Another thing too, Javon Holland, for the first time this season, he officially has outsnapped McCourty. He had 42 snaps to 41, even though it's 1 snap, it all counts. So interesting stuff in terms of, and then you see Noah Benogany, he was activated strictly for special teams usage. He had 15 snaps yesterday when he was finally activated for the first time this season. And you look at Elandon Roberts. I mean, Elandon Roberts, 47 snaps, 57% of the snaps. And another thing about Elandon Roberts, he got the first Miami Dolphins pick 6 since Eric Rowe's 35-yarder at New England on December 29, 2019. It extended the takeaway streak to obviously 25 consecutive games. And the return went down as an 85-yard touchdown, the 8th longest interception return in Miami Dolphins history, and the longest since Brett Grimes had a 94-yard return on Halloween of 2013 against the Cincinnati Bengals. So shout out to Elandon Roberts for putting it down, man. You got to remember, no Elandon Roberts pick, no win for this team, that's for sure. All right, now let's we're gonna go over. I want to go over the Jaylen Waddle thing real quick, since we're just getting out of the snap count. So let's put things into perspective here right now. So right now, if we take a look at next gen stats, right now Jaylen Waddle, he's right around Jonnu Smith. He's averaging about 4.4 yards of separation. He's getting quite a nice cushion of 7.4 yards. So they're just playing off, letting him catch underneath, and then closing in. Now, what? Yeah, it's if you look at it right here, right? This is average targeted air yards. He's only being averaged about 3.8. So he is separating more than he's being targeted through the air. So it's 3.8 in average targeted air yards, and yet average separation is about per route is about 4.4 yards right now. So the man is literally separating more than his average depth of target. If that doesn't make you go, wow, I don't know what will. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy, man. That's not that just goes and tells you they do not look at. I just want to show here. Rondell Moore is averaging 6.8 yards of separation right now. Good God Almighty, that's crazy. But yeah, Jaylen Waddle. I don't know what to say. I mean, Jonnu Smith, 4.1 yards, and we know they're dinking and dunking right now. That tells you right now they're dinking and dunking to Jaylen Waddle. I'm not lying when I say screens, stab routes, and curls, small little button hook curls, like little short button hook curls. That's all they're doing. That's it. This team does not know how to use this player, and it's sad. It's very sad. And let's I want to show this article with you guys. Let's take a look at this is a good article, actually. It just encapsulates everything I'm telling you guys. How not to use a number 10 overall pick, and it's Jaylen Waddle, in case you didn't know, because there's a picture of him. And this is by an Alex Buck. He says, I think throwing a wide receiver screen in your own end zone might have sealed it for me. I am and always have been a very patient and positive Miami Dolphins fan. But golly, am I being tested. Our offensive coordinators lack the imagination to correctly utilize a player like Jaylen Waddle. They're underqualified. We knew that. But the Dolphins are taking the approach to develop coaches within the system rather than bring them in the front and in from the outside. Okay, however, once again, we're seeing a top draft pick being used incorrectly. At this point, it seems we either draft talent and use it poorly or just draft poorly in general. Minka, Waddle, Tua, talented, all being used badly. Noah Benogany, Austin Jackson, Charles Harris, fine examples of drafting poorly. While the offensive line struggles to give anybody time to even collect the snap, let alone throw it anywhere, fans are noting the pass on Oregon stud offensive tackle Penei Sewell already. But I think they might be a little bit more understanding if the offense knew how to utilize a guy like Jaylen Waddle. I mean, we did draft him 6th overall. Surely there's a plan, right? Right? Chris Greer is starting to lose the fan base at this point. With offensive tackle Austin Jackson having the pass blocking skills of a tree stump and cornerback Noah Benogany not even making it on the field, both were first-round picks and the latter picked over every single running back in the 2020 draft. We're talking Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Miami had their pick of the litter and went for nickel corner Benogany instead. Both of those are questionable as it is, and the fan base is divided on Tua too, putting it politely. I personally think Tua is an excellent quarterback. We just can't see it. Can't see it because he was sacked 3 times in 9 snaps, the 9th of which he exited the game in the blindside hit after total whiff from right tackle Jesse Davis. In all of those 3 scenarios, Tua was sacked in less than 3 seconds, including the first play of the game, which I clocked as a 2.45 second sack. Not only is the line a horror show right now, but Myles Gaskin is one of the worst pass blocking running backs in the entire NFL. That's another issue. My exact feelings on the blocking you can watch here, and then blah, 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 blah. He's got his little video there. Anyway, Jaylen Waddle, the very Jaylen Waddle that has explosive 4.3, 4.27, actually. The same Waddle who graded a perfect 99.9 on PFF for deep targets in 2020. Now, remember that Waddle didn't play all that much in 2020 due to the ankle injury, but when he did, he was targeted on 7 occasions on 20 yards or deeper. On those 7 targets, he caught 6 of them for an average of 54.8 yards per catch. He contributed 329 yards and 3 touchdowns off of 6 catches. But how did he fare with medium routes between 10 and 20 yards? A 93.3 grade, 8 catches for 135 yards and a touchdown. He has blown right by an entire secondary on numerous occasions. He was the missing piece to a group of receivers who succeeded in possession catches in Miami. Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki, your main pass catchers in 2020, who are not speed guys. You couldn't push the ball downfield or stretch a defense. So you added Jaylen Waddle and Will Fuller in order to achieve that. But so far, we haven't stretched the defense at all. Waddle has taken 32% of his receptions behind the line of scrimmage. Why? You're going to get him hurt. The blocking isn't good enough on the perimeter, and the play calling isn't good enough to successfully create gaps for him either. What you're asking him to do right now is perform miracles. Same thing they're asking Tua, and bail out shoddy play calling with jukes and weaving and bobbling through all 11 defenders all by himself. We need to be running far less wide receiver screens. As for the one in our own end zone, resulting in a safety, well, when you compare Waddle to his first-round buddies, it makes it look even worse. How about this? Target depth of 9 yards or less for first-round receivers in the 2020 NFL Draft are as follows. Jamar Chase, 43.8%. Devontae Smith, 42.9%. Jaylen Waddle, 88% of his target depth is 9 yards or less. I guess he's very similar to Henry Ruggs, though, and the two were used in almost identical fashion at Alabama. Probably a better comparison than Chase or Smith, right? So let's give Miami the benefit of the doubt right here. What was Henry Ruggs' percentage for targets at 9 yards or less in his rookie season last year? 44.2%, right? No excuses then, huh? So right there. Jaylen Waddle, depth of targets at Alabama in 2020, 9 yards from the line of scrimmage or less, 43.7 yards. And with Miami in 2021, 88%. 88%. He's averaging 1 target per game deeper than 9 yards. It spells to me a total lack of competence. What have I been saying? You are handing a Ferrari, look at here, to a toddler and asking them to drive it. These two coordinators do not know how to utilize the number one talent you brought in during the offseason. The 6th overall pick of the draft. Not a clue how to use them. It's truly abysmal, and we are once again spoiling talent in South Beach. I know it's only been 3 games, but I have seen nothing at all that says to me this offense is going to begin to tick. It's a recipe for disaster. A young quarterback with a terrible offensive line and a run game you can't rely on to win games single-handedly, paired with 2 offensive coordinators who are not qualified to be running the show. You maybe get away with one of those things if the others are adequate, but all of them being a very current problem, horrific. I stood on the side of Minka Fitzpatrick when he requested a trade. You were asking him to do a million different things, which is fine, but let him get his feet under the table first. I remember he was on the field for 45% of our offensive snaps in all different positions. The 11th overall pick on the sideline for more than half of the defensive plays. Make it make sense. And what do you know? He's a Pro Bowl talent who came from a Nick Saban line of pure breeds. Sound familiar? What I will say is that Javon Holland looks great. That's it. That's the only sentence of positivity I can muster about the Miami Dolphins right now. 2 is the exact same problem. You've drafted a quarterback who built his legend off of pocket passing and sublime accuracy, so he needs an offensive line to succeed. He's a pocket passer. He needs a pocket. That makes sense, does it not? Can he read the field, go through his progressions, make decisions in 2.45 seconds? No. Is he going to get badly injured and have his career ruined by the Miami Dolphins? Probably. Tua doesn't have the time to go to his second read ever. It's not possible. The pass blocking is so devastatingly poor that I'm beyond hopeful about it now and just mad. Miami are predictable. Miami are easy to defend against. It's just bad. There are a lot of issues that need to be addressed. And for me, things need to change in the coaching department and in the locker room before the trade deadline. Surely Miami is appealing gig to a young, talented offensive mind. A chance to prove yourself with all those weapons? Where's our Shanahan McVay type of brain? Why can't we have a Joe Brady? Figure it out, Miami. You have weapons of equal talent level in your receiver room to near enough any other franchise in the league. How do you think the Chiefs would be able to use someone as talented as Jaylen Waddle? How are other NFL franchises having success with pocket passers relying on accuracy rather than evasiveness? How is it that these teams have coordinators who are getting the best out of the players before being pushed to head coaching roles themselves, while Miami shares the workload between not one, but two underqualified coaches? I'm all for developing your coaching pool and giving them a shot, sure, but at the cost of the success of the franchise and winning football games, the scheme is dreadful, the blocking is dreadful, the usage of talent at your disposal is dreadful. Figure it out before the fan base totally loses its minds. You're quickly running out of time. Man, could I have articulated it even better than that? That's what it is. Like, this is different and this is deeper than the quarterback position right now. All right. Let's look at the grades for the Miami Dolphins from week 3. Let's start off right now with the offensive grades. And Jacoby Brissett was actually your highest graded offensive player, but only at a 76.5. We didn't have one single player in the 80s. Gesicki was a 73.8, and Adam Shaheen was a 71.9. Dieter was a 67, and Gaskin was a 65.5. Your worst graded offensive players was Eichenberg at 39.5, Smythe at 42.7, Matt Collins at 49.2, Jesse Davis at 52.5, and Austin Jackson at 53. So not pretty, not pretty, not pretty. When you look at the pass blocking, the Miami Dolphins allowed 23 pressures. Okay. Now, to go even further, Austin Jackson allowed 6 pressures. Jesse Davis allowed 4. Robert Hunt allowed 6. Dieter allowed 1. And Eichenberg allowed 4. So in total, out of the 23 pressures, 21 of those came from your offensive line. 16 hurries, 4 hits, 3 sacks, all sacks, 1 charge to Eichenberg, 1 charge to Davis, 1 charge to Robert Hunt. So not pretty. The offensive line right now is not good. If we go quickly, if we go by team, before we get back into grades right now, the Miami Dolphins currently are the worst graded pass blocking team in the NFL with a 38.4, trailing Indianapolis, who we play this week, with a 41.6. So even PFF is seeing what I've been telling y'all. Right now, the Miami Dolphins are the worst graded pass blocking team in the NFL, and this should not be a shock to anyone who's followed this channel for any length of time by any stretch of the imagination. Now, back to the games here for a sec. Defensively, the defensive grades right now. Actually, hold on a sec. My bad. I apologize. I got to show you guys one other thing. If we go by position, and we go in here and we go all the way down to blocking reports. Right now, out of all offensive linemen in the NFL, Austin Jackson in 2 games is currently tied for, I believe it's 5th in the NFL right now, because Davenport and Jonah Jackson are tied. So 14 pressures over 2 games has him there. Eichenberg, you don't gotta go very much farther. Eichenberg all the way down here. Now it says 20, but if you actually go by it, if you actually go by it, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's actually 9th. And remember, this includes on tier offensive linemen. Now, if we were to go by just tackles alone, right now. On sorry. If I go to tackle right there, Austin Jackson is the number 3 tackle in terms of pressures allowed over 3 games. Liam Eichenberg is down here, tied for 7th with 10. So, not good when you got 2 guys in the top 10 right now. Not good by any stretch of the imagination when you look at the blocking grades. And then if you go by pass blocking grades, when you go to the worst of the worst, look at guys with actual snaps to their name right now. Leon Eichenberg, 44. Austin Jackson has a 39.5. Jesse Davis, he has let me see, 10, 11. And Jesse Davis has 11 pressures, so he's allowed more than Liam Eichenberg. So even he's a shit show. 39.1 for Jesse Davis. Like, yeah, when you go to pressures here, Jesse Davis is right here. So we actually have 3 players in the top 10. I stand corrected in pressures allowed. Both tackles, all 3 of them are tackles. Literally, our 2 starting tackles and whatever answer you want to figure as a swing tackle, they are all in the top 10 in terms of pressures allowed. Brutal right now. Absolutely brutal. So, back to the game. Oh, that's week 1. Sorry, I apologize. Week 3. All right. Now, defensive grades. And this is where it's a little better here. So, Zach Seiler put up a 90.2 grade. Emmanuel Ogba put up a 86.1. Van Ginkel, 78.2. Jerome Baker finally had a good game, better game, 74.3 and 71.3 from Eric Rowe. Now, shout out to the homie Emmanuel Ogba. He had 6 pressures. Again, huge. Now, the worst graded defenders were Justin Coleman was your worst graded defender. Samuel Iguamin was your second grade, but he's only on 5 snaps. So I don't really count that. Javon Holland was not rated very well, and we'll get into why. Brandon Jones was your 4th worst graded, and Christian Wilkins was your 5th worst graded. Now, couple things we look at the defense right now. We go down here to pass rush reports. All right. If we look at edge players right now, in terms of pressures right now, Emmanuel Ogba is right here. Ogba is currently tied for the 4th most pressures in the NFL with 15. Max Crosby has 25. Harold Landry has 20. And then Myles Garrett has 16. And then here's Emmanuel Ogba tied with Ngakoue and Von Miller and Cameron Jordan and guys like that, Trey Hendrickson for 15. So great stuff by the homie Emmanuel Ogba. He's out there. He is earning it. And he's actually number 2 in the league in quarterback hits right now. So shout out to Emmanuel Ogba. Doing a good job. Love it, baby. Love it. Now, if we look at the interior right here, okay? I want to show you guys something here. Now, if we look at the interior, see if I can drag this to the side here. Right now, let me pass rush. Oh yeah, I didn't want pass rush. I wanted all right, here, let me see. Go back, hold on. Right now, If I go by defensive grades, I go by defensive interior lineman. Okay. If we go over here right now to run stops, Zach Seiler and Christian Wilkins are both at the top in terms of interior players in the NFL right now. Each of them has 10 run stops. So, although we're not getting the pass rush we want from Christian Wilkins, him and Seiler are being effective in the run game. And remember, stops are when you stop a play within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage. So, big stuff here from Seiler and Christian Wilkins. Shout out to them. At least you can find positives on the defensive side of the football. Now let's go take a look at the coverage. At the coverage here for the Miami Dolphins in week 3 against the Raiders, because there's something I really want to focus on right now. Byron Jones. A lot of people shit on Byron Jones, and just because they don't understand or whatever the case, they want turnovers because they're sexy. If you look at the coverage yesterday, Henry Ruggs against Xavier Howard had 2 receptions on 4 targets for 41 yards. Renfro had 2 targets and 2 receptions for 22 yards. Ruggs had 2 first downs. Renfro had a first down and a touchdown on Xavier Howard. And then Brian Edwards was shut down. So he allowed 4 receptions on 7 targets for 63 yards, 1 touchdown and 3 first downs. Byron Jones, Darren Waller, ladies and gentlemen, he was targeted 5 times against Byron Jones, 3 receptions for 39 yards and no touchdowns. Kenyon Drake, 1 for 1 underneath stuff, right? He caught it 3 yards and then, 7 yards after the carry. So he was 4 for targeted 6 times, allowed 4 receptions for 49 yards. I want to show you guys something right here. Let's take it back. Let's take it back here for a sec. I want you guys to see this for a second here, okay? Because this matters. So if we go back to 2020, and if we go to week 16, I believe it was, right? Was it week 16? Week 16. Eric Rowe. Eric Rowe against Darren Waller was targeted 5 times for 5 receptions, 112 yards, and 5 first downs. Byron Jones did a better job on Darren Waller than Eric Rowe did last year, and Eric Rowe was erasing guys like George Kittle last year. Have we found a calling for Byron Jones, maybe? Kick Needham out on the boundary when you have a big tight end to deal with that can make plays, and you just have we had X traveling with Ruggs a lot yesterday. Do you now just have Byron travel with the Kelseys and the tight ends that can hurt you? But I'm just saying, you take a look at that. That's huge. Put some respect on the homie Eric Rowe's name, man. I don't know what else to say. But continuing on here, Jerome Baker, he was targeted 6 times and allowed 4 receptions for a total of 34 yards. Henry Ruggs got 1 reception on him for 16 yards. But other than that, he kept Peyton Barber, and even Darren Waller and Foster Moreau in front of him. Nick Needham, he was targeted 5 times, allowed 3 receptions for 52 yards, no touchdowns. He was targeted 3 times against Hunter Renfro. He allowed 2 receptions for 31 yards. And then he was targeted once against Henry Ruggs, and he had 1 reception allowed for 21 yards. Justin Coleman had a bad day. He allowed almost 100 yards. Hunter Renfro went 1 for 1 against him, 1 reception on 1 target for 24 yards. Brian Edwards had 2 receptions on 2 targets for 55 yards, and Zay Jones had that big first down reception on 1 target, and that was for 15 yards. And out of 4 receptions, all 4 were for first downs. Eric Rowe are out there erasing. He allowed Waller one reception on 1 target for 8 yards. So Eric Rowe still getting it done. Peyton Barber 1 reception for 5 yards, and then broke up the Kenyon Drake. So good stuff from Eric Rowe. Brandon Jones, Edwards had a 34-yard reception on him, and then Kenyon Drake caught both of his targets for 23 yards. So yeah. And then Landon Roberts, he allowed that touchdown to Foster Monroe. But that was like goal line stuff, if I remember correctly. And Peyton Barber got 1 reception on him for 23 yards. Javon Holland, I don't know where they graded him so poorly. He only allowed 1 reception on 2 targets for 1 yard. But it was for a touchdown. It was on that angled when they were like from the 1. I guess they charged that against Javon Holland. So, but they absolutely, you look at Javon Holland, they absolutely crapped on him. I got to go back and watch the all 22 and see why they were so hard on him. But if you look at him, right, he's one of our worst graded players, and it was because they gave him a 33.5 in coverage, and he. So we'll see. I'll go back and I'll look at the tape, and we'll try to figure that out. So there are your PFF grades for week 3. Some good, some bad, some ugly. It is what it is, though, right? Let's keep it rolling right now. Weekly, we've gone into passing charts, right? And I want to put things into perspective for everyone so they can they can get a load of what actually went down in terms of what the offense allowed, what the offense is really doing, because it tells a lot when you take a look at the passing charts, and that's where it's going to put the average depth of target really kind of, really kind of in perspective for you, right? Like that's why you're going to see that. So let's take a look first at, I think we'll look first at Jacoby Brissett, and then we'll go look at Derek Carr. So when we look at Jacoby Brissett, let's take a look at Jacoby first. So taking a look at Jacoby Brissett right now, he was 32 of 49, but if you look at this, beyond 10 yards, so 11 yards and beyond, he wasn't very good. If you go beyond 10 yards, so 11 yards and beyond, now obviously one was a DPI, but he, let me see that. Yeah, sorry. He had 4 completions, beyond 10 yards, right? And I mean, that's on 12. So he's 4 from 12 beyond 10. So that tells you he was 28 of 37 in front of 10 yards. And if you look at him here, now there's some bunched up. That's why they look like stacked right here. Like if you look at, the one right here next to the 2 misses right here, that's 2 on 1, right? So if you actually look at him beyond the line of scrimmage, guys, behind the line of scrimmage, I won't even go at the line of scrimmage, but actually let's go from the line of scrimmage. From the line of scrimmage and behind, right? 14 of his 49 passes came there. He was 11 of 14. From the line of scrimmage back behind it. So not effective throwing the ball deep. Really kept it from within 10 yards and up. Nothing really extremely impressive about Jacoby Brissett by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, you go back and watch that screenplay. Hey, they called, a lot of people didn't realize they called the screen on the other side, and Adam Shaheen was wide open over the middle. Wide open. Could have parked a bus in Adam Shaheen's hands over the middle. Now, if you go and take a look at Derek Carr's passing chart, it's once you get beyond the line of scrimmage. Like, if you look at him, he only missed 3 passes beyond 10 yards. So, but he too kept it relatively short, and that's why, he only had about 175 yards heading into the fourth. It was really in the fourth quarter and in overtime when he started padding the stats, he got extra time. But look at only 5 passes behind the line of scrimmage. Only 5. And they have Henry Ruggs too. Just like we have Jaylen Waddle. The discrepancy is behind the line of scrimmage right there. So, just underneath stuff, right? Just purely underneath stuff. And then when you go and look at the Miami Dolphins, yesterday, the Miami Dolphins, Gesicki averaged about 1.94 yards of separation. Durham Smythe, 3.85 yards. Will Fuller, 3.24 yards. Devontae Parker, 1.37 yards. And Jaylen Waddle, 4.07 yards. Waller averaged about 2.03 yards. Hunter Renfrow, 3.73 yards. Look at Henry Ruggs and Jaylen Waddle, same amount of separation, basically. Ruggs, 4.08. Edwards did what he did with only 0.8 yards. So, and then Foster Moreau, 5.88 yards. So the league average, as it says here, is about 2.88 yards when it comes to separation per route. So, yeah. Better than better than we've seen before. And then if you really break down the next gen passing, you want to go off the chart and just get a pure breakdown. There you go. See, that thing cut us off, right? Look at Derek Carr from the 20 beyond to the left side, 3 for 7, over the middle, 1 for 1, and to the right, 1 for 3. So from 20 and beyond, he was 5 for 11. Jacoby, 1 for 5. If you look at from the 10 to 20, so the intermediate level, Derek Carr was 3 for 5, while Jacoby Brissett was 3 for 7. If you go short from the line of scrimmage to the 10-yard line, I mean, that's both where they kind of like really let it loose. Derek Carr was 13 of 19, while Jacoby Brissett, on the other hand, was 18 of 22. And then look at, if you go from the behind the line of scrimmage, right there, it tells you Carr was 5 for 5. Brissett behind the line of scrimmage, 10 for 13. Why do we even have 13 attempts behind the line of scrimmage? Unbelievable. Like, it's telling you right here. It's crazy, man. It is nuts. Just dink and dunk and dink and dunk. Dink and dunk. Unreal. The play calling in Miami is not that good right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not. I don't know what to say else right now. It's ugly. It's ugly. And if you go and look at the pass rush that we were generating yesterday, one more little next gen stat here. Jalen Phillips, guys, He had some get off. So the average separation from a quarterback for y'all to see, so y'all can see exactly what they're talking about here. Jaylen Phillips, about 3.47 yards. Ogba, 3.9 yards. Butler, 4.26 yards. Wilkins, 4.94 yards. So Jaylen Phillips was penetrating, right? You see the league median right there. Ogba and Phillips and Butler were below the league average now. Ngakoue, 3.36 yards. Max Crosby, 4 yards. Quinn Jefferson, 3.8 yards. And then Hankins, 4.72 yards. So when you look at the pass rush, that's what you see. And remember, a pass rusher's average pressure distance from the quarterback at the time of the passer is at the time of the passer thrower sack and yard. So it only includes passing plays. That does not include run plays. So that's showing you where they're generating pressure, the distance of generating pressure at. So I believe that's it for the next gen stats. Yes, that is. So I mean, I don't know what to say right now. This is a issue that's far beyond the quarterback. This is a deep-rooted issue that starts with coaching and has leaked out into the product of the field. And guess what, Miami Dolphin fans? Because we're where we're at in the season right now, we're actually probably more than likely going to have to ride it out. I mean, this is now 2 games in a row, guys, where with Jacoby Brissett at the helm, we've averaged more rushes, more yards per rush than we have more yards per pass. We averaged 3.9 yards per pass this week and 4.9 yards per rush. That's the second week in a row. So that's a little bit about Jacoby playing it safe, and that's a lot about the coaching and the play calling right now. So I don't know what even to say anymore right now, but I'm going to go ahead. I want to open it up to you guys for the next half hour. We just review and recapped week 3. Hopefully week 4 will be pretty. Hopefully. But geez, it's painful right now. It is painful to watch, and the reason why is because we've seen this song and dance time and time again, and whether it's false hope and then it all blows up in our face, or whether it's everyone wants to get out on a player too early, that player goes somewhere else, that player pops off, and you don't even have to look at quarterbacks. Look at Wes Welker. That player pops off, and we are left sitting on our hand. And tomorrow night, we're going to break down some All-22. Me, Martin, and a ball game. And then speaking of the homie Martin, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
Good, man. Good evening, Reason. I know it's been rough.
Bro, I just gave so much information that where are you going to deny me right now?
Even a fool can't miss it. But again,
I ended up talking for an hour and a half, bro. I thought I was going to talk for 45 minutes.
But it was necessary, man, because like you said, Tua didn't even play a damn game, and they still pointing the finger at him. It's like, damn,
casuals, bro.
The vitriol.
It's casuals, bro.
But I will say, man, it's been fun kind of watching the Dolphins compete, even when they're still in shambles like this, because it makes me think like, yo, once these guys actually start playing like together, offense, defense, special teams, we already know can come through in the clutch.
It won't though until the coaching is right.
I say that, man. I'm just saying, man.
That's the problem.
Once it gets there, bro, it's about to get intense, I think.
All right, Pyro, what's going on, buddy? I just want to go. We'll go through everyone, introduce you, and then We got a full backstage right now. That's why. Pyro,
let me
what's going on, buddy?
Be quick about it, but I'm just saying that screen pass on the goal line really exposed this coaching staff in terms of their view of play calling. Because
screen pass, they called 2 on that play, bro. That whole play exposed them, dude.
Bro, I mean,
also exposed Brissett though. Brissett had Adam Shaheen wide open over the middle.
Yeah,
and that's why
open.
Brissett took full blame for that play after the fact because he didn't make the right read and it was a bad throw.
But
you took Waddle's feet off the ground. All that did was let the defense close in on him.
But it's still just a bad play call in general.
Yeah,
I mean, right there in the end zone.
Bad design, bad play call.
It was a mistake.
Yeah.
Cash, what's going on, dude?
What's going on, brother?
Cash.
Hey, what's going on, Martin, man?
What building ledge are you calling in from right now?
Man, I swear, it sounded like he's from Silent Hill. I was like, what the hell is that?
You can hear the breeze in the background. Like,
I'm depressed, man. You know, I just hope this thing gonna get better. You know, it's just not looking good. Everything we talked about that was a problem. You know, is a whole goddamn problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Dylan, I'll get back to you, Cash. I want to get everyone up here. Dylan, what's going on, bro?
What's up, man? Chilling. I'll let you get everybody up. I got a couple things I want to say, of course. You know me, but I'll let you get everybody up.
Hey, rifle off one of them. All right, you lost your time.
I'll wait. There's one thing in particular that's at the top, so I'll wait.
All right. I'll go back after I introduce everyone. I'll go back to Cash and then I'll come to you. Crypto, what's going on, buddy?
Oh man, this is a dandy reason. I'm trying to hold on here. I've got more rocking chairs on my porch. More rocking chairs.
More cash too.
You like them rocking chairs, huh?
Man, actually, extremely comfortable. Yeah, extremely comfortable.
Open a retirement home by this.
Z-Man, what's going on?
Not much, guys. I'm losing years on my life. I'm a young guy already, but I feel like I'm 50. I just can't do it. I took up drinking. It ain't looking good right now.
I said I took up drinking.
It's not looking good right now, man.
Nelson, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
What's up, Nelson?
Seen better, brighter days, that's for sure.
Any chance Ross makes a season move in season? What would it take for that to happen? It's just hard to be optimistic right now, just based on what my eyes are seeing, man. Yeah, man. Yeah.
I don't think a major shakeup comes. I don't even think Watson's an option on the table till the offseason.
No. I'm talking about.
That's true.
Oh, he's not firing anyone. They're not going to fire anyone.
Yeah.
The most I could see happening is them demoting Stootsville and Godsey and promoting Charlie Fry to play caller. That's the biggest extreme I could see them do.
That's in the middle of the season.
It has to be at the end. At the end, man.
And I'm okay with that. I'm open to it.
All right, let me keep rolling here. Jan, what's going on, dude?
Yo, what's up, Fins fan?
What's up, man?
No, I'm feeling good, bro. I was actually more depressed when I saw Tua get hurt and come out of that game against the Bills. And I got even more depressed when I heard Flores come out and say it was two fractures on his ribs. Everything just got clear to me, dog, that, you know, this will be like the perfect excuse to bring in Watson. So, I mean, I'm just waiting and seeing. I'm hoping that Tua gets in sooner than later. Obviously, we need to wait until week 6. And just one thing I have to say is, you know, if by the first light we can tell, you know, like in the morning, how the day is going to be, we can already tell, you know, what's going on and how the season is going to end up, bro, the way we're seeing things now.
Yeah. It's early. It's still early.
And finally,
this is going to rain, bro.
Finally, to bring on here the man that we all ratioed in the comments who wanted to Chicken Little, the sky is falling, and blame Jaylen Waddle for his fumble last week, but didn't want to talk about Jakeem Grant's fumble in front of the end zone. You all dragged him. He came backstage. Fins for life.
I
knew it.
Yo, what's up?
Welcome.
We're making excuses for this week, bro.
I missed that.
No, we gave the game away, bro. We came out and knocked them in the mouth, ran the ball for the second touchdown. You understand what I'm saying? We up 14-0. We call a bad play. Jacoby dumb enough to throw it. Okay.
Instead of throwing it out of bounds or something.
Yeah. And it would have been better for Waddle just to let the ball go. It'd have been an incomplete pass because I looked at it. It was forward. So neither here nor there. Like Reason said, it took his feet off the fucking ground. My bad with the language. I'm hot too. So, okay. We played a good game, bro, for what we was working with. For what we're working with. We played a good game. If it wasn't for that safety, we was finna murk them. We were finna murder them because they was down. If we'd have got up 21-0, we was good.
Yeah, we weren't going to get up 21-0 with the rest of that. That offense showed you for the next 3.5 quarters.
We were running the ball though. Reason before that, we were like straight running the ball.
That offense after they scored after Landon put up the first 7, then they ran in for the touchdown. They literally went silent until halfway through the fourth quarter.
Took the feet off the pedal.
Well, yeah, after that safety changed the game.
And the part of the reason why we even scored. Part of the reason why we even scored that last touchdown to tie it up was because of a
defensive pass interference. If you actually, I'm pretty sure if you go look at every scoring drive we had.
That was the right call, though.
If you go look at every scoring drive we had, there was a penalty of 15 yards or more to extend each drive.
And
like we literally needed the penalties to sustain drives.
Yeah, and
to be fair, they had penalties. We had penalties against us to sustain their drives too. So it was
they had almost 110 yards of penalties, bro.
Yeah, but that's the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, but one of their drives, 2 of their touchdown drives, was penalties against our defense.
I'm gonna clear my name on the Grant shit. The coaching staff shouldn't have had him in the middle of the fucking field throwing the football to him in the first place. So why they throwing the ball to Jakeem Grant that's going to get rocked by a safety coming across or a linebacker? That's a mistake. They didn't give him a chance.
Well, Waddle's a small guy, and they gave him a similar thing in front of and he dropped it too.
He's a beast.
You can't make that excuse because you're a professional athlete. You've been in the league for like 5 years.
True.
Will Fuller, look at he was taking some of Will Fuller's snaps. That's why this week Jakeem Grant only was out there for 2 snaps because Will Fuller was back. So we were expecting you to make up a little of the production that Will Fuller had.
Yeah, but I've always been, you know me, I've always been behind just him as a returner, no wide receiver.
Right. Yeah, we got you. But fellas, how do we really feel about Derek Carr after this game? Is he one of the better quarterbacks in this league?
They held him to 175 yards.
Not really.
I haven't found him yet. No.
They held him to 175 yards through like 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, the defense just couldn't keep it up, man. Dude, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Yes, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. That guy, that arm he has is one of the most underrated arms in the NFL right now. Perfect example. If you go look at that throw to Devontae Parker-Brissett made that hit Parker in the back shoulder, that Mullins was in coverage, but Parker had to hold up on the route because he didn't get led. If you go look at that, Mullins was able to close ground because of the arc and air put under that ball. If you go look at Carr earlier in that game, he made a similar distance throw about 40 yards, 45 yards downfield, and he knew because of the coverage, I gotta put this on a rope. I cannot loft this there. And that thing was on the fucking money. And that was on wasn't that on 3rd and 23 or 3rd and 20 or something like that?
Something ridiculous like that.
Stupid. And he just and it was here's the thing. Brissett was straight through. Carr was technically across his body because that was on the left side of the field. He's a right-handed thrower. Bro, you saw him, dude. His ability to get out, reset his feet, uncork, fantastic. He was even making throws. But now, the one bad throw he had was the Landon Roberts interception. And actually, Trevor Lawrence made the same mistake earlier in the game. You can't loft footballs backpedaling off your back foot. Bad things happen usually unless guys are wide open, bad things usually happen, right?
For me, apart from Derek Carr, the NFL, Stafford and the Rams right now, the way they're looking, bro.
Dude, look at the throw he made to Henry Ruggs on Xavier Howard.
Oh, yeah.
Only an area Henry Ruggs could get, and Henry Ruggs climbs the ladder over X and catches that football.
That's a lot of high point catches.
Look at. I'm telling y'all, I'm so right about this offense. I just proved to y'all I'm ahead of the curve. I'm ahead of the curve on Jaylen Waddle. Now there's articles coming out on Jaylen Waddle. Now I've got the evidence to tell y'all
there's
they don't
only
know how
one,
to use
right?
Jaylen Waddle.
Yo, we lost in overtime with 2 missed field goals, a fucking safety, and as shitty as we are supposedly, we went into overtime.
Dude,
yeah, but
the only reason you went to the only reason
on
you had
the
a chance,
road on the West Coast.
The only reason you had a chance to tie the game was a Landon Roberts interception and the stop. They had multiple stops in the final 10 minutes. They missed out on the first one. I think they missed out on the second one. Then the third one, they finally tied it.
Yeah, but they were stuffing the running game
defense
too.
gave them the ball.
But you don't understand. I'm right about this offense. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not disagreeing about that.
If it was not for the defense yesterday, if it was not for the defense yesterday, we do not win that game.
That's the same thing. Same thing last year.
But Jacoby made some clutch throws for a backup. Like,
he's not a backup though.
Yeah, okay. It took me.
First
of all, he had one big time. He had one big time clutch throw. Bro, he had 76 yards in the first fucking 3.5 quarters, bro. Give me a break. This guy was nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
you know
but I love Tua. If it was Tua, they would say it's the offensive line.
Tua
did more. They say it's Brissett's fault.
Yo, can I talk, bro? It's my show, not yours, bro.
I'm just saying.
I don't care what the fuck you're saying, because Tua did more against that defense last year, and they had Gus Bradley. And he did more passing the football than Jacoby Brissett did through 3.5 quarters. Facts. Go look at the yardage over the first 3.5. If Tua would have walked in halfway through the fourth quarter with 76 yards, and he would have still done what Jacoby did. Dude, Jacoby had 215 yards on 32 completions and 49 pass attempts. We averaged more yards per rush than we did per pass.
He's not calling the plays, bro.
Yeah, but there's reads. He's missing reads downfield, bro.
Did you guys listen to
Bro, you make excuses for everyone. You make excuses for they allowed 23 pressures yesterday. 21 pressures came from the offensive line.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, but it's deeper than that. You see, he still had time. You had 21 pressures, but you had what, 83 snaps?
Mm-hmm. Something like that, yeah.
So there's still opportunities when he had time. Perfect example. He chose the screen instead of the dump off in front of the sticks to Adam Shaheen. That was wide open. That's why he took full blame for that shit.
He missed a couple times too. Wide open.
Yeah, mind you, the differentiating factor between Jacoby Brissett and Derek Carr in that game, Jacoby Brissett versus Derek Carr completions versus attempts. He went 6 for 6 for a negative 171 yards, by the way, brother. If we're comparing stat to stat.
Yeah. I know. I agree.
I
showed the charts of the depth, everything for Jacoby. Look at how many passes he had behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. It was
way
bad.
too many.
But he did look.
And I already called it. They also didn't tailor the offense to him, but still, there's still reads on the field. He left multiple reads. He left.
But reason this actually brings up a situation where I need you guys' take on this. Should we just revolve this passing game around Mike Gesicki? Because I'm just saying, man, as bad of a route runner he is, he's still a mismatch, bro. As far as his catch radius, He's been making a lot of plays,
dude. How many times have we tried to go over top of defensive with Waddle? We haven't done
very little.
We We haven't even utilized the speed we have. You think I expect them to utilize Mike Gesicki, bro?
Yeah, they just
that's what I believe. I believe the Dolphins need to start doing that because Mike Gesicki's been exposing a lot of like defensive mismatches.
A lot of people.
As far as defenders.
It's like they forgot about him until the fourth quarter came and they needed 4th and 22 or 4th and 18.
That's the case, and we're not even knowing how to exploit that. If that's one of our strongest options.
Brissett was constantly missing Gesicki. You saw Gesicki getting frustrated because Brissett wasn't making the read with Gesicki when he's wide open.
I'm not saying Brissett's all this and all that. I'm just saying he gave us a chance to win. That's all I'm saying.
We know we agree with you. I'm just saying I think this offense moving forward needs to revolve around Mike Gesicki being receiver number 1, and then obviously receiver 2A and 2B should be like Waddle and DVP, and then Will Fuller as just like a go guy. You know, like we got to start like making plays, bro, and moving the football forward. And you know we've been stagnant with one reads.
Even Parker's not separating right now. 1.4 yards of separation yesterday.
It's the same from last year.
Yeah, they need to start going deep early and often so they can keep the defense honest.
Yeah,
stop waiting till they're behind.
Unbiased opinions, yes. Jacoby Brissett did pretty well for what we had, but I think we should be the same unbiased with Tua. You know, we played pretty well for what we had on week 1. We won.
Yeah.
The defense got us.
He had a better game. Go look at
Fitzpatrick. Unbiased, and not be fair weather fans.
Go look at Fitzpatrick in week 1 on Foxborough last year against a weaker defense. 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Tua Tagovailoa had a better game against a more talented defense in Foxborough in week 1 of this year. And that's a 16. Everyone wants to compare the 16-year vet to the guy who played 10 games till it don't fit their narrative. That's why I don't hear that comparison on anywhere else except here.
So look, I mean, I think personally, from my point of view, Tua definitely gives us the better chance. Obviously, we don't have him right now, but at the end of the day, what we've been talking about and a lot of what this show has been about today is the fact that the issues are multiple, right? They're across the board, like all over the coaching, et cetera, et cetera. But and listen, the fact of the matter is for the first 3 weeks, our defense has been keeping us in this. But let's keep it real about the defense though too, because the defense is not. When you're looking at the big picture, they're actually having significant struggles too. I mean, we're 25th in total yards per game. We're 22nd in passing yards per game. We're 27th in rushing yards per game. 23rd in scoring defense. Right.
Because the offense is hanging them out to dry.
That too.
If you take the Bills game out of that, we're in the top 10 in all of them.
But look,
that's true. That Bills game kind of skewed a lot of things.
Yesterday didn't help. Yesterday they gave up like 500 yards. Yesterday did not help either.
We're also though currently through 3 games the worst in the league for third down defense, which is obviously
last year we were number 1.
We were number 1 last year.
But the big point about this though is that yes, I agree that it has a lot to do with the offense hanging them out to dry. The problem is as we've mentioned, it's not if they're having struggles because of that or for whatever the reasons being this early on. It's hard to think that they're going to be able to hold up throughout another 14 games.
No, last year we got better every game, regardless of what happened.
The defense was on the field for almost. The defense was on the field for almost 40 minutes yesterday.
Yeah,
and we still went to overtime against in the West Coast.
But they're not. If the offense doesn't start showing up soon,
this is not sustainable.
It's not even close to sustainable, bro.
Either Oakland is not that good, or you know what I'm saying? Because they should, if we're as bad as everybody says we are, they should have
won by 40 points.
Ran our ass right off that football field.
Right. Well, I think that's thanks to the defense. The offense.
Oakland's been trying to give games away all year, though.
The defense, after they gave up after they scored 9, look at how long it took them to score those 19 straight points on us. It didn't happen in the blink of an eye. Like they had to take, they took little bits. But they took little pieces from us, and then eventually, in the second half, when we've been out there for the majority of the snaps, they cracked. At times.
But
the fourth quarter, they held their own. kept giving us chances.
Even in the Bills game, right? It was 14-0 at halftime, but then we let up another 21 points after. But that's the point. And even in these games, it just goes to show you, as the more that they get worn out, whether it be in game or over the course of the season, they start to have breakdowns because unfortunately that's what happens.
Think about the morale for the D. You know what I mean? For the defense, you know, whenever they get a turnover,
trust the offense,
and then they, you know, and they right. You know what I'm saying?
This is a second whole. This is beginning to become a second whole season. The same shit that they went through last season.
Yeah, we were 1-3, but boys, we lost our starting quarterback.
I want to read what Shop TV has here because a lot of people forget this. In the Bills game last year, in 56 attempts, he had 360 yards and 12 drops. If 9 of those drops were converted, he would have had a 500-yard game. And that was something we talked about in the offseason. That was something we talked about last year when it happened. People forget that. Like, I think it was Rhino Sit that actually sat there and calculated what the yards would have been. And it would have been like 500 and just around 530 yards he would have put up.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, in that one game alone.
It would have took Brissett 3 games to get that.
He only had the one. If you actually look at his if you look at his 3 interceptions, he only had the one bad throw. It was when he overshot the guy over the middle and it went to the safety. Other than that was his only. That was
the
his
other
only
one.
bad
Parker
throw.
fell on the ground.
Yeah.
And the other one is just
Parker got mauled, bro. That was PI.
Bro, this guy's he's the least of my concerns right now, bro.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Tua is the least of the Dolphins' problems. We got 99 of them, and Tua
I agree, man.
We got 99 and Tua ain't one, bro.
And these 3 games are going to show it.
Watson will fix this.
Buddy, if we lose to the Colts, start panicking.
Yep. I agree.
That would be the worst loss.
I think we might.
We lose the Colts.
I think we might.
Just now panicking?
Jonathan Taylor.
That would be the
run
worst.
defense against Baker.
And you know what's crazy? Jonathan Taylor's kind of egging for a big game, but the only thing is,
I'm saying
Quentin Nelson got carted off yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me not think
of their
for
line.
an injury, bro. You don't want to
coming back,
bro.
And they're the second worst graded pass blocking team right now in the NFL.
Raekwon
that means they're gonna run it.
There's no news on Raekwon at all.
Damn it.
Well, he has to be out for at least one more game because he's on IR.
Yeah.
Well, Carson Wentz is a glass statue, so they're not going to be effective in the
Raiden
passing
Chris
game
29.
anyways.
I'm telling you, Raider fans are happy Tua didn't play. Just talked to all my homies because he lives out there. They were nervous all game.
Yeah.
And that was with Jacoby Brisket.
They were nervous all game with a backup quarterback, the shittiest offensive line in the world, and this man talking about an undefeated team that was nervous, and y'all scrapping the year.
Yeah. Look, my biggest thing is, man, we talked about this.
You don't
all
understand.
Off-season.
This is not. You are just seeing leaks right now. Eventually, those leaks. It's like with any foundation. When you start getting leaks in a dam, like Dylan just alluded to.
Yeah.
Eventually, that dam, those cracks get wider and wider, and then it just explodes through. That's what you're not. That's what you're not seeing. You're living in the moment. You're not looking long term here.
I'm looking at the history of what this coaching staff has done. Last year we were 1-3.
Yeah, we were 1-3.
Dude, you want to go to history of coaching staffs? We haven't had a team that's improved on their record in the third year in a regime in 3 straight years since the mid 90s.
We weren't a 10-win team last year.
Bro, you want to go you want to go history over the first 35 games? Guess what? You want to hear something real? Brian Flores is 16-19. Adam Gase is 19-16. And I even think
that shows me right there that numbers are flawed.
Joe Philbin, I'm pretty sure was 19-16 too.
Yeah.
That shows me numbers are flawed because I know Flores is the better coach.
Look, bro, it's about full context.
Hey, Philbin wanted to draft us Derek Carr in 2014. I don't know.
He wanted to move off from Tannehill. Yeah,
it might have been right on that one.
Yeah, and look, the thing.
That was an upgrade from Tannehill.
Last year was completely different context. I actually agree with you that we weren't with the product we put on the field, and with Tua not being fully healthy.
last year.
Yeah, we were not a 10-win team, but the context of last year was so much different, and we've talked about it. First of all, it was mostly the defense, right? But, other factors go into it, like, the injuries and so on and so forth. I mean, we played teams that weren't even close to what they were at the beginning of the year.
No,
So,
the offensive play calling plus the quarterback that they had to run that type of system that was more effective than Tua than when he was in, because the play calling system was for specifically speaking Fitzpatrick and not for Tua.
Yeah,
that's true. That's another truth.
Yeah.
So,
Look, and
context is way different.
And look at some of our core players: Jakeem Grant, Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, Jesse Davis, who's been here, Dieter, who's been here. Chad O'Shea's system was too complicated. 2 years in a row, they go to a more simplified offense, and they can't even execute that shit.
Yeah, bro.
But Dylan, to give it more context to what you were saying, to be fair, our offensive receiving core was pretty much on the infirmary all season long, so it was a wash as far as our injuries versus the defenses we played when they were injured.
Well,
we were throwing a bunch of fifth stringers at their so-called banged up defenses too. So
yeah,
but we got everybody now. The only thing is we have no protection. And this draws all the way back to what Reason and EM were saying.
And bad play calling.
Did we maximize our resources?
And we have bad play calling and coaching and conceptual design on the offense.
That's troublesome too, man.
Is
right. But I'm saying, on the offensive side of the ball, at the offensive side of the ball, it starts at the top, works all the way down to the sidelines, and it's leaked out onto the on-field product right now. Right now, you are seeing. Right now, you are seeing a combination of things on the offensive line. The coaching carousel at the offensive coordinator on offensive line coaching positions. You're seeing a misuse of financial and draft capital resources on the offensive side of the ball, too.
Sure,
that's what you're seeing right now.
And
it took 3 years. It took 3 years, but we warned y'all back in June. It's going to eventually rear its ugly head. We warned you. Me and EM warned y'all in June. I don't want to hear shit. I've been talking about this offensive line since I was on TD Finn's Talk in 2019. I've been talking about this offensive line for 2 years before we even had a quarterback, bro.
No, you said it. But before we even take a quarterback, we're supposed to build. Yeah, but
build something behind
before we take a quarterback, we're supposed to build that wall first. And then
if you take the offensive line, if you take the quarterback first, you better use money and the draft, all this draft capital you accumulated, and you were more concerned about winning a trade than overpaying a little bit to go get Tristan Wirfs.
Right.
And so the Bucs had to move up one spot because they found out you were talking with San Francisco. You had all this capital. If you're going to draft the quarterback first, you better hit on the young guys. And
tackles,
here's the thing. You go look at what KC did when they rebuilt their line this offseason. You go look at what the Chargers have done in 2 years as they started building this offensive line when they added Balaga last year, Okung, who's no longer there. They've blended veterans and rookies.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is too is that's it. The whole, because we knew in 2019 the whole plan was to go out and get Tua in 2020, right?
Yeah.
So we all knew that. So, but that's why it makes the Josh Rosen thing even that much more strange and weird, because the guy you were going after, you weren't actually going to get until the 2020 draft.
That was Chad O'Shea, though. I know what happened there.
Well,
That was Chad O'Shea walked into their office. They had really high grades of Josh Rosen. They actually wanted him to fall to them in New England. He said, "I can make this guy work in this offense." New England actually, through the draft process, saw Josh Rosen as the pocket replacement for Tom Brady long term. That's what Chad O'Shea sold Flores and the team on that.
And I get that. I get that. But what I'm saying,
you can tell
though,
Flores
is that
anything at this point.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is that from an organizational standpoint, the plan was to go get Tua in 2020. Yeah. So to me, it doesn't make sense to bother making that move, especially as bad as it turned out. When instead you could have, even if you know, a lot of Dolphins fans probably wouldn't have liked it, but you could have taken in the first 2 rounds offensive linemen to shore up.
I would have loved that. I would have loved that.
That's what I've been saying all along.
It would have been the
so
first.
now we're saying that take Tua. In the
or even
draft?
the first.
No. You
one's
take
talking about
Tua.
right now.
But those
they're talking about getting out ahead of the offensive line. If you knew you're taking a quarterback after the rebuild, so basically you're drafting in April of 2019, heading into a season where you're tearing it apart, and we're going for a draft pick to draft in 2020. So start, and they did. They added Dieter, right? And what happened? Flores drafted the most experienced offensive line coach he's had in his tenure 4 training camp sessions in, because he told Flores that Dieter wasn't ready, and they still put Dieter out there, and Dieter was a disaster with that offensive line.
I'm not gonna lie. I would have been cool with Cesar Ruiz at 18.
That's what I'm saying.
And then Penei Sewell at 6 this year, and then just bundle everything up.
It's this year too. Look at the use of resources. It's this year too. You're getting Albert Wilson back, who you know can separate. He's averaging over 3 yards of separation right now. He's not a problem. We signed Will Fuller. We didn't really target him. You sign Will Fuller. Mm-hmm. You don't need Jaylen Waddle at that point. Now, if you didn't sign, Fuller and you signed Corey Linsley, then I get the Waddle move more.
Right.
But it's the same thing. Listen, this goes back to Dieter and Flaherty getting fired after 4 training camp sessions. They politicked for a 3rd rounder then. They're politicking for an 18th overall pick now. Everyone and their mother, even the casuals, know Austin Jackson's shit. Okay,
you know that's what I was about to say.
But no one wants to put their hand up and say I messed up and take responsibility right now.
And let it cut his evolution. That's when it started. They said, "Oh, a run on tackles went." Okay, well, you dumb. Go get the best center, the best center,
which was a need.
The best lineman. Just get the
guard.
Best lineman.
We needed guard. We needed guard then too, right?
Yeah, best whatever. But don't draft Austin Jackson.
And you already had Dieter, so you.
But again,
play him at guard or
that
center.
knee-jerk reaction. There's timelines for everything. That knee-jerk reaction happened a couple months earlier when Joe Tooney was locked to become a Dolphin. Patriots franchise tag him. Within 10 minutes, they signed the overrated Eric Flowers. And anyone who saw me on TD Fins Talk, I was killing that move. How are you going to pay this guy $10.5 million when he was shit in New York as a tackle? Bro, he had a pressure rate. Dude, he had like a pass block win rate of like 79%, like something stupid. Like he was a lot, and he had a pressure rate against him of like 30% or something. Like he was not good. And then he had one mediocre season at guard. Again, they kicked him in at Washington, and you want to give this guy $10.5 million? Are you crazy?
But yes, they are.
They are. I mean,
they are nuts in there.
Desperate. They're desperate.
They should have kept being crazy and kept them.
They spent $260 million last year, and $150 million of those contracts aren't even in the building anymore right now.
I mean, it's from my evaluation, it's been from Jump Street, just misstep after misstep after misstep. And the thing is too, right? Like, okay,
and they masked it with overachieving, but what's the problem when you don't overachieve? Now we get to see what you really are.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and the thing is though, is those situations where they reached for players or whatever, they pigeonholed themselves into it by earlier moves that they made that caused them to have to do that. Because, like, again, going back to 2019, if they just would have done that differently and picked some of maybe the blue chip talent at those positions, then you wouldn't have as big a need at the offensive line, for example, when you got to 2020 and we're going to take Austin Jackson, and then the knee-jerk reaction wouldn't have been necessary. You see what I'm saying? So it's those dominoes, man, and they just, it's like, just move. I mean, okay, they've had some moves that were solid too, right? Like, I'm not going to just completely shit on them. They've done a couple good things, especially in the later rounds, but like the majority of it has just been nonsense after nonsense, and then they just have dug themselves in this massive hole. And now we're filling with water. So.
You guys know what they're saying? Once they show you who they really are, believe them.
Yeah.
Well, you know the thing is too, y'all better hold.
Yeah, that's Maya Angelou. By the way, Maya Angelou. Y'all should be. Y'all should be praising Tua Hits, because if you don't, well, that's a Cleveland level. That's a Cleveland Browns level bust in 2 drafts, bro. And you know what they did? I said to CEM today. At least when they drafted Trent Richardson, even though they got it wrong, they traded up to secure Brandon Wheaton, because that was the guy they locked into and wanted.
We identified Wirfs. They got back to the Bucks. The Bucks traded up one spot because they gave them what they wanted. Bro. And they got worse, and we got Austin Jackson. And what was the point of even spending that 18th overall pick on a left tackle when Jesse Davis can play there? And on top of that, right tackle is now the blind side. And
right.
now you go look back.
Mismanagement.
Guys, let's go back. Let's do two things right now. Now that the draft is completed, who did we trade Minkah Fitzpatrick for right now?
I don't know.
Austin Jackson. That was for the pick. Austin Jackson. That was 18.
Austin Jackson. Who did we trade Laramie Tunsil for now?
Tua and Waddle. That's the 26th pick and the other pick.
Our pick.
Was it Noah in there?
Yeah, Tua was our pick.
was our pick.
Yeah, Tua was our pick because we only won 5 games.
Noah and Waddle.
Listen,
It was
you
Noah.
said a knee-jerk reaction. I about had a heart attack when they said that name out loud.
It's Noah and Raekwon Davis.
When they said
Noah and Davis.
Noah, Raekwon Davis, and Waddle. Noah, Raekwon Davis, and Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So out of all those trades,
Raekwon.
And Holland, right?
And is Holland part of that too?
I think so.
I don't think so.
I think Holland was ours.
I think Holland was ours. Yeah.
We had our own pick.
So
nobody's as good as Tunsil or Fitzpatrick. Nobody is good as
Raekwon's gonna be special.
He's gonna be.
So we probably it's starting to look like we lost that trade. Like we were the losers on the Tunsil trade now.
Yeah, and that's
starting to shape out that way.
And that's what matters. It's great you get those 2 first-round picks, but what do you do with them? And by the way, if I think Tua is going to be fine overall, but if he ends up being a bust for the Dolphins because he goes somewhere else,
I'm so right.
I mean,
they're saying rough. Holland was the Texans pick too.
Okay.
Javon Holland?
Javon Holland.
That's pretty solid.
That's rough. That's rough if Tua doesn't work out, at least for the Dolphins. Even if he goes on to have a career somewhere
We've
else.
already seen it. He's
he was
out, bro.
He was Waddle, right? Because Waddle was their pick, so that was high. And then so our pick was Eichenberg. We traded up for Eichenberg, I think.
In the second round.
So let's do this again. So hold on, let's do this one more time. Now that we have it all. For Minkah, we got Austin Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay. And for Laramie Tunsil, we got Raekwon, Javon Holland, Noah Benogany, and Jaylen Waddle.
Waddle could be great, but
Waddle could be. They just don't know how to use them.
But is that really fair? When you get a draft,
Noah looks like the miss. Noah looks like the miss.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
Noah's
saying.
A miss, man. Noah's a miss for real. For sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though.
He's on the special teams.
Whatever, man. If we look at that, if we look at that, right? So Christian Wilkins has been underwhelming for his draft status, right? For his number 1 pick.
True.
You have Tua. Unfortunately, he's hurt right now. But if he does not work out for the Dolphins, then that would be a miss. Austin Jackson looking like a miss. Noah looking like a miss. Waddle and Phillips are in their rookie season, so they still have plenty of time. But they apparently don't know how to use Waddle for shit. So. That's not helping the situation. And Jaylen Phillips, they finally started letting him pin his ears back a little bit. So, right now, those first-round selections, even with some of them potentially still being able to pan out, are not really panning out in the here and the now.
How do we allow 12 catches? Right?
You will see Tua throwing bombs to Jaylen Waddle, and it's going to be so pretty.
I hope so.
At the same time,
I'm just saying, how do you need
do it at least 3 times in the first quarter, please?
No, we need time. No, give me protection so the route can develop, please.
Yes. How do you allow?
And that's it.
Rollout.
That's another misconception I got to get out there too. There's people out here saying he's a one read or he can't read defenses. This is not the issue. The reason why he holds the ball too long. Saban warned all of us during the draft process. Saban told all of you he gets caught holding the ball too long because he's looking for the big play to develop instead of taking what's underneath and given to him. And that's coachable. That's not like, oh my God, issue. Like that's coachable. Yeah. So he holds on the ball not because he can't make the read or go through his progressions. It's because he's seeing something and he's waiting for it to develop and the line's not giving him enough time.
Not close to enough time.
And he's used to that shit being smooth at Alabama.
Well, at least I told these guys.
He had at least 3 seconds at Alabama.
Well, and here's the other thing. He could even if his tackles got compromised, his interior was always pretty much
Fine.
clean.
And he could step up. Yeah.
So he could step up and
right now
reset his feet.
he's not getting anything.
Well, some of the stuff. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say he's not getting anything. He's getting Austin Jackson on skates. He's getting whiffs from Jesse Davis. He's getting stunts up the middle. It's like,
bro,
okay,
Liam Eichenberg. If Liam Eichenberg
He was
in
bad
prison right
yesterday, bro. Oh,
Yeah.
Bro,
Was he?
yes.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
I
he
mean,
was.
look,
But the
man.
thing
Did
is,
you see that? Yo, did y'all see the
more
highlight?
bad
Did y'all
than
see
good
the?
from Liam?
Oh, it was bad. Yeah, it was bad yesterday, bro. Did you go back
Yeah.
and rewatch the game? Like, I've got notes that I can't wait to look in the all 22.
I can't
That
wait for
spin move Max Crosby put on him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He was
Took
left.
him to the pasture, bro.
Spin cycle.
He got the week before he got put on his ass. I don't remember if he got pancaked, but the one play that I kept replaying was when Jalen Phillips pancaked Alex Leatherwood when he put Leatherwood on his ass, bro.
Yo, he balled
all
out
he
yesterday.
did was just pop right in the chest, and Leatherwood was on his ass.
Yeah,
bro.
Leatherwood just fucking failed
he
over
is
like
Just gone.
dominoes, man.
Yo, Phillips is gonna come on. I'm not worried
Yes,
about
sir.
Phillips. That's why you haven't
as long
heard
as
me
they-
say anything about him. Like,
as long as they tell him to rush the
through the
quarterback,
preseason, and through the beginning of the season, I've been telling all y'all they weren't using him properly. They were dropping him back into coverage when you need to pin his ear back. They let him do it on Sunday, and he had the most snaps he's had of his whole season. And he was making some noise, man. He's gonna get there.
Yeah, don't be surprised he plays more next week.
It just feels like once Jalen Phillips gets his first sack, it's
And
gonna
it's gonna keep
come in bunches.
coming.
It's gonna come in bunches. I feel.
Mhm.
I hope so. He's
you
got
saw
the
the,
talent.
Like
you saw the
he
Jalen Phillips-
looks like the type of guy that can take over in a couple years. He's gonna be the type that can take over a game.
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
and
Like
I'm
stop the run and
You just got to get coached up and nuanced at the level. That's all.
I'm
He
just
looks
ready
like
for
a big boy, man. Even on the screen, you know what I mean. He looks the part, man.
Bro, did
Yeah,
you see that?
damn quick.
Did you see that when they had him coming off the left edge and they had Ogba coming off the right edge and both got around their men and Carr just got rid of the ball
Just got it off,
and
yeah.
like Phillips went one of the two went low and the other one went high and they just like
reason on that.
inverted him, bro. Like I was like, God damn. And yo, whatever the hell your name is, you can potentially add the head coach in there too right now.
Mm.
The only thing I was saying about the offensive line being helped out
Whatever
by
your
play
name
design
is.
and scheme like George Seifert used to do with the Niners. He would do half rollouts with Montana and Young, plant his feet and throw it down the field. That's all we need to do just to keep them honest. Do half rollouts with the quarterback. That'll give you an extra 1.5 seconds to throw the ball. By that time, Waddle or Fuller is at least 50 yards down the field.
They did that against the Bills, remember? And they took everything away from us.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I think Brian Flores needs to go ahead and admit that Austin Jackson is not ready for, to be a starter. Put Liam Eichenberg in his rightful position.
Never will.
I'll bring Jesse Davis.
Never will.
Stick him to left guard. Keep Dieter at center. Get Robert Hunt there, and I'll bring in
DJ Fluker.
Yeah, bring Fluker back.
If somebody, man, I was gonna say Larnell Coleman, bro. Bring in the rookie, bro. Like, let's see, man.
Well, we've seen what Jermaine Illuminor looks like. I can only imagine what DJ Fluker is gonna look like.
Right.
I know, man.
Baller.
Remember they let Melvin Ingram walk out the door too, right? Remember
that too? Yeah, man.
Jeez, they're so bad, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe if Isaiah Wilson would have tried a rap career, maybe he would probably pan out in this offense.
My problem is in this season they've shown that they can't evaluate prospects.
Yep.
When they said when Lemuel Jean-Pierre said what he said about Wirfs about I thought he was a all-pro guard. Now I see that he's a tackle. And then now they've shown me with Illuminor walking out the door, they can't even evaluate veterans that have grown and developed.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
McKinney in our run defense, right? So
You remember
just
when
gotta
the
hope
offensive
they
line coach
accidentally
did?
hit.
You remember that shit?
Can y'all imagine if we would have just traded up for that for that Austin Jackson and Noah pick? Just trade up with the 49ers to get Wirfs, and then we come back the
They
next
can
year
get
and get
whoever you
Penei
want.
Yeah, it would have costed the Noah pick. Yeah, that would have
Like, damn, bro.
I mean,
Like,
at
it's
this
so
point,
easy.
for sure, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah,
with
because you
knowing what we got. I mean,
you're
Jesus.
basically getting nothing.
Golly.
How do you spend a first round pick
on
on
the
a
special
project?
teams,
I'm
man.
sorry,
He
man.
ain't even
Oh, I know
project no more. He's
exactly.
on the
I know
special
exactly
teams.
what they asked for the 18th, a 3rd, and a 5th, and Greer said no.
The 18th, the 3rd, and the 5th.
I want Iggy.
I mean, they
The
might
18th, the 3rd, and the 5th to move up. Me and Neil talked about Fin Too Deep. We talked about it on Fin Too Deep last week.
I would have done that in a heartbeat, bro.
I would have done that.
Go get your man, Tristan Wirfs, man.
I would have done that in a
You
heartbeat.
know what the problem is, bro? Greer always
Yeah.
wants to look like he wins the trade. He never wants
Yeah,
to.
Come on,
he
man.
wants to be
It's-
Mr. Publicity.
He would have won the
but-
trade.
Right.
I'm about to say
Yeah,
that
but-
would have been a
but
win-win.
He
bro.
would have won after the results played out. At the beginning, people would have been like, "Oh, who's he trading up
But
for?"
that's it.
And then
That's
let's
so
be honest.
short-sighted,
You see how our offense has moved. You even expect them to grow and develop and get the best out of them, anyways.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean,
Wow,
Right.
but I think Wirfs
Yeah.
is war ready from the beginning, though, man.
Oh, he was.
Well, that's so
Mhm.
short-sighted, right? Is to I have to be perceived as a winner in the here and now
But
when the
he's worried
headlines
about
say,
his
Right,
job.
like,
versus
get the fuck
long
outta
term.
here.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, that's so dumb, dude. It's so
He
dumb.
should
That
be
is
our
short-sighted.
Man,
That's not how good GM should think.
Yeah, bro. And
Yeah.
like that's the thing is I'm one of those people who feels very confident that if a GM and an organization are doing things properly, they should almost always, with like damn near every pick that they make, be able to take a player who is a good mix of best player available and a need.
yes,
But
yes.
Yeah.
and I think
I
good
wish
GM
that
showed
they
it to
could
be
be
able to do
public.
that. But
Like-
this organization has not.
You know what would have
done
been the
that.
best, Dylan?
That's what Ozzie Newsome does all the
You know what
time.
would have been the best,
Right?
Dylan?
Baltimore, yeah.
Imagine if somehow we got the 1st round overall pick. They drafted Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor was playing the way he's playing right now. People would be calling for Tua, bro.
Exactly.
Should've drafted
It's
Tua.
ironic.
We
Yep.
should have drafted Tua.
People,
It
no,
would have been
no,
great.
no. If we
Trade
would
Lawrence for
have
Watson.
drafted Trevor and had a competition, Trevor
Between
wins
him and
out,
Tua.
Tua hits the bench, and then you get the first couple games
no.
with Trevor. People would be calling for Tua right now, bro.
No,
Yeah, to
bro.
bench
And then
Lawrence.
that's the funny thing
that's
too.
That's what's so
That's the
funny
funny
about these
thing.
people, bro.
And if
They'll
he
be
would have
saying,
never
"Hey,
hurt
Hey,
his hip,
that's what's funny about
if he
these
would have never hurt his hip, he
people.
would have won number one overall.
These fickle fans, these casuals, they would have ran Josh Allen out after 2 years. They wouldn't even have seen
Yep.
the 3rd-year
They
development.
showed no.
And
They
people,
would have been the Chargers fans running Drew Brees out of
Yup.
San Diego,
Yup.
New Orleans.
Yep.
Yeah.
We just had a
Hey,
dumb
people-
doctor.
Hey,
I understand
reason,
the
you
fans
just
doing it.
brought up one of the most important
Same
points
people,
of
bro.
why we need to just stick with Tua and develop him the right way, right? Josh
Yeah.
Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, there's so many quarterbacks that if you just allowed them to sit and learn and develop, they become what they become, or even take the lumps sometimes, like a Josh Allen. But
Yeah,
for whatever reason, man, and like you said, these people, man, they just want Tua to be Drew Brees right now, and it's not the case.
Well, I mean,
like
I
you
get-
cannot
I
be
get-
that. You
Hey,
cannot
Mark,
be that
you
right
play-
now.
I
you
get the
played-
fans
you played college,
I
right?
just don't understand why the
Yeah,
organization is
One
doing
at a
it.
You know,
time. One at a
so-
time. One at a time.
So I'm gonna listen to you because you see that heat coming, and you break it
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
I watch you break down his shit, So yeah, I feel you.
Look,
You on that?
And I'll be transparent with y'all, man. My first start in college was in the Florida Classic, which is a very big game for HBCU football, Florida A&M versus Bethune-Cookman. And my entire offensive line, like the from the center to the guard, it was all seniors, and they were all cohesive. And that, like, literally, I was just back there, like, whistling and just playing with the football and stuff. Like, I was having a ball because I had guys in the front of me that was just
and
solid
knew what the hell they
protection,
were
right?
doing.
But we come back the next year and it's new players because the seniors are gone.
Freshmen, some sophomores.
And it was real leaky. It was not as consistent. And it was like, damn, bro, like I finally realized, bro, like, damn, you need a long and tenured guys in front of you to actually make things happen.
They know the
inside of the
nuances,
middle.
bro.
They know the nuances of each other. So in
the
in
game,
this case,
of defenses, of all of it.
yes, of different fronts and how you pick up certain things. And look, I'm just saying Tua is a quarterback where if you give him that type of time, and we all seen it at Alabama, but if you give him that type of time, bro, this guy is going to you forget about the word light up. He is going to dissect this league like nobody's business because that's what he's built for.
You know what the problem is, Martin, that people don't realize? Tua needs reps in the sense of because we want for him to succeed, he's got to be elite from the neck up, right? Yes. He needs to see things live, go against them, either fail or succeed, go back in the film room, dissect it, and then go execute what he saw in the film room and put it into action against those looks. He's only going to get better with reps against disguises, different coverages, exotic. The way his game is built, he just needs to see it live, then dissect it after, then go back out and execute what they discovered in the film room. That's how a guy like him grows in the NFL, along with coaching. That's how. That's the recipe of success. And the O-line is a key part to that because the O-line will allow him to execute against them. The O-line might allow him to beat things the first time he sees it because he has time.
Yeah.
He's gonna say, "Oh shit, I got time."
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Dude,
that's all it takes.
Listen, when Richmond Webb tells me that Dan Marino would not succeed against this offensive line, behind this offensive line, I don't need to hear anyone on YouTube. I don't need to hear anyone on Twitter. I don't need to hear anyone on Facebook right now, okay? None of y'all can't. The fact is, none of y'all opinions, including mine, are on the level of his on that tape.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you could ask Dan Marino, and if he was to tell you candidly, he would tell you, "No, bro, I'd get my ass whooped behind these boys."
He would.
I guarantee Dan Marino be in the booth. And he'd be in the press box like just shaking his head.
You see his face on game day, bro? Have you seen Dan Marino's face on game day in recent days, bro? Like he looks so stressed. Like I feel
I wish Mr. Webb to coach him up.
Right now. Everybody is stressing.
Yes, he just turned 60 too.
I mean, but I feel like he's empathizing with the quarterback
that he hangs out with. Their former teams are balling out, right? And here he comes, the old Dolphin great. Yeah, he's embarrassed, of course.
Yeah.
He said never won one while I'm playing. Might not see them win one while I'm living.
Yeah, when I'm alive.
Hey, don't say. I hope you don't say that. Come on, now.
Marino gonna be here for a little bit longer.
I'll give you. You want the honest to God, honest truth? As this team is constructed, as this team is currently constructed, and with the regime in place, you are not winning under Brian Flores and Chris Greer. You're not winning a Super Bowl right now. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Not. There's way too many holes.
Some major changes.
Not a Super Bowl.
Way too many issues, bro.
You're not even going to the AFC Championship.
And the sad thing, I think Chris Greer would be happy with that because it'd make him look all good. Like,
nah, he's tied to Flores. They are tied together.
Yeah, they're tied together.
They're going together.
That's the sad part. Flores is a good coach, bro. We just need an offensive coordinator. Flores proved he can keep a squad together and let them grow.
But the coordinator, the lack of not finding the coordinator and the offensive line coach is on Brian Flores.
No,
you need to understand that Flores makes decisions. Flores ain't just a coach.
And then on top of this, Barry Jackson already told y'all during the Bills game, and I'll repeat, if y'all are giving grief to Chris Greer, give that same grief to Brian Flores because he has just as much say in personnel decisions, and Chris Greer even defers to Brian Flores on certain personnel decisions.
That's the reason I wish
the coach's responsibility for the roster.
The decisions,
bro. That's
exactly
how they draft. I think that's how they go through free agency. I really think it's I like this one. It's
like
your turn.
I like this one. It's my turn.
Your turn, my turn.
I believe he wanted Herbert because I know it hit on Sunday and everyone's like, oh.
Who did? Who wanted Herbert?
Flores. That already came out.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
he didn't.
Dude,
I dropped that nugget like
because I just feel how I feel. You know what I mean? So I listened, but I didn't know Flores. I didn't know that.
So, anyways, like 3 or 4 months ago, I told all of you he wanted Herbert. Now this weekend, it hit all the mainstream media's picked it up. Here's the thing, though. from everything I've seen and understood, he probably still signed off on it anyways because he's that involved.
He had to. He's the GM or
no, he's the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, he said it himself.
You gotta understand. Certain times GMs will listen to what a coach tells them, but they'll say, "I've scouted this player more. I like him. I'm drafting you this player. Make it work. He fits what we're doing."
That's not clear, though.
I'm sure Noah. I wish I know whose Noah's pick was. I know everybody thinks it's Flores.
It
was.
That was definitely Flores.
It was
His hands was all over that.
100%.
Just like Javon Holland was all Flores.
Yeah.
So was Hunter Long.
Probably Phillips too.
True. High defensive first round picks is all him.
Hunter Long was Flores too.
He called him personally.
What, Boston College?
Yeah, because of that was a big
Phillips,
reason why too, because the Boston with Hunter
But
Long.
Jaylen Phillips might be a nice hit though.
Yeah,
if he comes around, yeah.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, bro.
Twice a day.
All right, let's
it's true.
Let's go through some final thoughts here because it's going to take us past the 2.5 hour mark. Let's start with you, Pyro.
Well, I'm just going to say it right now. You basically confirm everything that we all been thinking since the beginning of this season. That if this offensive coordinator or the office in general doesn't get it together, there's going to be some heads are going to roll. Basically, that was the term. Heads are going to roll, and we're going to find out what happens. Because right now, I'm already out. I don't really care. Right now.
He's tapped out, bro.
Wow. I told you I want him out. I want every
after 3 games. Damn.
I want him out. I was out. I didn't like Flores from the jump. I already told y'all that.
I wanted Eric Bieniemy to be honest, but we got it. It's all right.
Cash, your final thoughts.
Yeah, man. Reading the articles, I said it after the 35-0 blowout. To me, the national media is going to start shining the light on some of the stuff that we've been talking about that we can see here locally. And it's true. The rebuild, or quote unquote what it's worth, is not it's not going well. We're not looking like that 10-6 team from last season. The offense is a mess. The defense ain't looking like it would, like it's supposed to. But I still believe, and I believe as the season goes, they'll get better. I do not feel the same for the offense. Reason gave us all of the stats that we needed, to show us exactly, where the problems are. It's bigger than Tua. You know what I mean? Tua is like 4th or 5th on the list. You know what I mean? Of what the issues are that come to mind when I think about the Miami Dolphins. You know what I mean? And last point, we are in year 3 of this rebuild, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Josh Allen's been in this league how many years?
4.
3 now.
4. So that means the Bills are in year 4 of their rebuild.
Yep.
Yeah.
Technically, yeah. Right. Probably year 5.
Right. All right. And they went to the playoffs last year and made some noise, right? All right. This is their 4th year, and they're pretty much right back on track, right? It was kind of shaky with Pittsburgh, but looks like these boys are getting right back on track. Yeah, right. All right. And this is year 4 of their rebuild. So it looks like we're behind, guys. All right.
A little bit.
Don't you dare bring logic here, bro. Z-Man, your final thoughts.
Well, I got a question for you, Reason. You was talking about bringing in Bill O'Brien for offensive coordinator. Would that be next year or this year?
Like next year, after he's done at Bama this year.
Okay. Well,
after they blow up the coaching staff.
This is what I'm gonna say about this. I don't know what they can really do. Hopefully, they bring in an offensive lineman because I feel like the line will stabilize because they got too many young guys on there.
Fluker was showing off on social media today.
Man, Fluker. I was talking to Larry about it. They said you don't bring a $1 million player, a vet million player, for to be a starter.
Yeah.
Man, he was gonna probably look way better than Jesse Davis. So
absolutely,
yeah, bro.
That denies that logic right there.
By the way, before I forget, y'all remember I said there's got to be something deeper at the root cause here of Benardrick McKinney not being on this team. Like, it didn't make sense that everyone was propping him up. Did you guys hear Omar today?
No, what happened?
Omar said he's heard some things behind the scenes about Benardrick McKinney, and he's not going to go live with it yet. But he basically said it's deeper than play. So
yeah, I mean, that seems pretty obvious.
So he said he's hearing things, though. He's starting to piece stuff together. So
it's a lot of lack of veteran leadership. I understand Colin Van Noy wasn't great, but it's not like our linebackers were any better. You could have kept them around. You could have kept McKinney. He was here for $3 million. Like, it wasn't gonna kill you.
Richard, you might as well get Watson. You might as well get Tunsil with Watson, bro.
They need the whole package. They need a fifth line. The play calling gotta be better. I don't know if the season's really over, but I don't really think it's gonna get much better. So
yeah. Crypto, your final thoughts?
Yeah, it's pretty much we're on the brink of do or die. That's why I say it's like the butterfly effect.
This Colt game is huge.
Yeah, the Colts game. Absolutely. Yeah, this will say because there's too many teams in your conference dropping or winning games that they shouldn't be winning. You know,
and this team is very beatable right now.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You know, you got to get back to 500 so you can stay and at least have a shot at trying to make the playoffs because you know these early games.
The Dolphins are under 500. Wouldn't know what that's about when Tua is a starter. But anyways, continue.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. Especially when you got the AFC champions under 500 for the first time in God knows how long. So, you know, who knows? Who would have thought Denver would be leading that division with a perfect record, and then the Chiefs would be bottom feeders. But, you know, it's just the whole upside down world right now. And 66-yard field goals are bouncing off uprights and going through for, you know, historic moments. So who knows?
Justin Tucker's a beast, though, bro.
I know. He's the best in the league. Oh yeah, by far. Yeah, first ballot.
Years now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer.
I wish we had that guy, bro. Fuck. And
oh my God, that means all we have to do is cross the 50-yard line. Exactly. All we have to do is just cross the 50-yard line to be a threat to score. That ball was planted on the 44-yard line.
Yeah,
for him to make that field goal. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Wow. But Sanders, if we can get to that level, hey man, the more the better, man. We need to be a threat on all levels.
Yeah, on the fantasy team, man. They holding them back, man.
I know.
Every week.
Dylan, your final thoughts?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun as usual. Even if it's, you know, the air around our team is kind of cloudy and smells like shit, but you know, whatever.
Welcome to China.
Gas mask and fucking move on with life, right? Yeah, no, we got Colts. Look, you know, at the end of the day, I do share the sentiment, you know, that the you know, season outlook is getting a bit murkier, let's say. But hey, at the end of the day, it is only, you know, week 4 that we're getting ready to go into. So let's see what we do against the Colts. It is a huge game. We can't afford to fall to 1-3. And yeah, so let's turn this around, motherfuckers. Fins up.
Braden says Tua is going to have to dig the Fins out of a hole. Guess what? Fins were 3-3 when he took over as well. Well, guess what? If we're 1-4 heading into London, for us to have a chance at the playoffs, he probably has to go 10-2 or at minimum 9-3 over the last 12 games.
Get us
easy. That's easy.
And no bye week
now,
until week
from what
4,
I've seen out of those last 12 games, the only games that give me cause for real concern, the Ravens, because they've historically had our number. Carolina is playing damn good football right now.
Right now, that Carolina lost.
And they traded for CJ. They lost J.C. Horn and they traded for C.J. Henderson now. Who else? Tennessee. And then
at the moment.
And then Halloween against the Bills.
Ooh, that's a scary out
Halloween.
Right there,
yep.
Those are the 4. Those are the 4 games. And you know what? I actually have faith that, you know what? You gotta call a spade here. Tebow had it. Tebow just wasn't as talented and as gifted as a passer and a player that Tua is as an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
That winning DNA. I mean, you look at Joe Burrow under 500, Justin Herbert under 500, Kyler Murray under 500.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We don't got to keep going here, but like if you look at if you go from the Daniel Jones under 500, if you go way under 500, by the way, if you go from Kyler Murray's draft class to right now, Tua Tagovailoa is the only quarterback in the first round with a winning record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely got one of the 2 best quarterbacks.
And with a bunch of inept
with a
All
bunch of
around him.
jabronis around
All
him, from
around him.
coaching
Jabronis,
staff
yeah.
Bunch of
to the
jabronis
on-field
too.
product,
All
bro.
down, yeah.
That's crazy. man.
No. Imagine what he could do with a competent offensive line and coaching staff. The fucking sky's the limit, bro. Nelson,
is.
your final thoughts,
He
bro.
gets traded to the Saints. It's over.
Oh,
All
well,
right, so
perfect
Oh,
fit.
oh my gosh. Oh,
all right, so appreciate
Perfect fit.
appreciate all
It's
of you.
over.
Thanks, Nelson. Appreciate it.
Appreciate everybody coming on, everybody's opinions and thoughts. You know, from my perspective, from my view, I don't trust these guys. They failed from every angle. They failed to put Tua in a position to be successful. They failed on numerous things. I don't have any faith in them. And I'm not just talking Flores and Greer. You could throw Reggie McKenzie in there.
bro. I
You
won't
could
talk.
throw Marvin Allen in there. The whole scouting department.
Yep.
I just feel like we're headed right back towards NFL purgatory. We're gonna be right in the middle where we're not good enough, we're not bad enough. And I just feel like we're screwed all the way around, man. No matter what you give these guys, it's a square. You're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. The way they, like, even what you pointed out, the way they use Waddle. I've noticed that Phillips needs to play with his hand in the dirt. He was more effective yesterday coming off the edge. They're just a mess. They're just a mess. And the more they do, the picture becomes clearer and clearer to me.
That's it, man. Fall into that despair.
How screwed up they all are, and it's just a mess. And I just hope that they finally could get the right people in there to fix this damn thing for good, man.
I love that last bit of positivity right there, man, because it was getting real dark.
I've been following this team since the early '80s, man. I watched Strock and fucking Woodley, taking turns, and Shula was a stubborn coach, but you know what? Shula had a nuance, and he had a nuance about him that he stuck with what worked, and I don't see that from Flores. You know, some people say he's a glorified defensive coordinator. I don't think he's even a glorified defensive coordinator. I think he's just a good position coach, and that would be DBs because he can't stop the run. That's it. I'm out. Nothing more.
Fins for life. Your final thoughts.
I love it. I love that take.
All right. Martin, I appreciate it through the quarterback's eyes. Reason, all these people that think the wrong quarterbacks that Tua is the wrong. They need to take their blinders off. You know what I'm saying? And just listen. This man, Tua, he knows what the fuck he's talking about. Excuse my language, but this man is a genius, bro. Like real shit. Go Dolphins. I ain't gave up on the year. I hope they can grow together. The flow and the Greer shit's got to figure his way out. But, we got to ride with the year and hope Brissett gets one. Fins up.
Fins up, man.
Wow, the Cowboys are killing the Eagles right now. Martin, your final thoughts.
Yeah, man, Reason, appreciate you for having us on, man. Another good show, another great show. This game, defense held it down for us again. Third week in a row. But Jerome Baker is still the greatest liability in Dolphins history, dog. I don't know.
Stretch, but
look. I'm saying defensively, as far as how much we've entrusted into him, he is the greatest liability I've ever seen in Dolphins history. Now, offensively, I agree with everything everybody's saying. Offensive line, I don't think we're gonna get any better.
Deion Jordan.
Deion Jordan's the greatest bust. But as far as entrusting,
he never really played
responsibilities.
I know, but I'm just saying,
Jerome Baker. We'll move on.
You're talking about liability.
He is the greatest liability.
Liability sees the field.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're right.
And again, I don't think this offensive line is going to get any better this year because we are who we are. We're not going to make any moves to pick up players in the free agency pool. We're going to ride with what we're going to ride with, and if we're going to do that, I think we just got to just completely commit to the run. Forget about who we have at running back.
Yeah.
I don't care. Run the football, and then catch somebody with a play action pass.
Yep.
Go deep with Waddle, go deep with Fuller, go deep with Wilson, and find Gesicki in the middle. Find Parker with his one-on-ones. Find Preston Williams with his one-on-ones. Let's exploit those. But we have to run the football, and we have to run it real heavy, bro. Because again, for Jacoby Brissett to have back-to-back weeks with over 40 attempts is criminal, considering that we have Myles Gaskin as the most efficient runner when he was healthy last year. You have to take that into consideration, and you have to utilize that type of skill set, bro. We haven't done that yet, and I hope we start doing that come Indianapolis, because even though Quentin Nelson's out, Jonathan, like we said, Jonathan Taylor, he's ready. He's primed and ready, and he's seeing the film, and he's seeing Baker, getting blocked and waiting for somebody to come in and make the tackle. He's spinning his ears back. He's, grinding his cleats in the ground. He's like, all right, give me the ball. And I think he might go for 150 out here, bro. So we got. I'm just saying. We got to get right. We got to get right. So, let's just address it. Let's run the football. Let's get out of here.
Keep them out.
All right, boys. Tomorrow night I will be back with Martin and Ball Game, and we will break down some of the all 22 from yesterday's game. We'll look at the offensive line.
Can't wait.
And we'll look at mainly the offense. I might even throw some defensive reps in there if I'm feeling froggy. But we're gonna look at the offensive line specifically, and because I'm not doing all 49 dropbacks of Jacoby Brissett. Are you crazy? So we're gonna look at the offense, and then we might take a few defensive plays in there, sprinkle them throughout, just to keep us going until Tua comes back and we can start breaking down his dropbacks. But I will see y'all tomorrow. Stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. Fins up all day.
The like button.